one last check on one thing.
Testing the microphone.
Oh, I have a new countdown thing. Do you guys want to hear this? Check this out.
Oh, yeah.
All right, here you go. So here goes. The show starts in the show starts in
3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Core, everybody. This is Core. What is it? Episode 283 for Thursday, September 23rd, 2021. I'm Scott Johnson with Bo Schwartz and John Jagger. I'm sorry, Bo, artist formerly known as Bo Schwartz, is here.
Bo Schwartz.
Bo Schwartz.
When we were pre-show, you were talking about maybe dropping your last name just for fun, like become this guy named Bo, and that's how everyone knows you. And we'll back you up. Let's do it.
Start a fragrance line named after me.
Bo's.
O to Bo.
I would just do.
So I have to drop the Schwartz because that'll be too many syllables.
No, call it B.O. Bo's odor. B.O.
Oh,
I'm sure.
I like it.
I'm sure that's not a bad marketing decision. That it's okay to call a perfume or a cologne B.O. I'm sure it's fine.
I think you can
market it right. You can do it.
Yeah, you can do it. I believe in you.
So you say Bo by Bo. So B.O by Bo. And the B.O. is also Bo's odor. Or body odor, interchangeably.
That sounds like a funnier word than you meant, though. Like Bo's odor. It just sounds like a funny...
Bo's odor.
Yeah, it's like, where are you going? I need a tractor. I'd borrow that one over there at Bo's Odors. They got 5 or 6 of them.
It just sounds like the weird friend you had back in school. Like,
Bo's
odor.
Odor.
It was me, it was Kevin, it was Michael, Bo's odor was there, and we just got into
Bo's
a lot
odor.
of hijinks.
Yeah. And then I started a show called the Bo's Odor Layer.
I'm in.
Like a pun on ozone, but...
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Would you also drop the EU, or do you just go B and it just be BO if you changed your name?
No. It's got to be BEAU. I got it.
Okay.
It's because it's French for handsome. I definitely am keeping the name that is more flattering to me than just straight BO. Like that. That's not changing.
It's straight BO.
French to Francophone people, I walk up to them and they say, "What's your name?" And I say, "My name is Handsome."
Yeah.
And they go, "What?"
Yeah. Then they go, your name is Bo. Oh, oui, poo poo.
And it happens a lot because I live in Canada. There are Francophones here plenty, and it's always a lovely reaction. These days, I say, "Oh, it's ironic."
Yeah. Like Bitter Pill Lady, whatever her name is. All right, hey, that's all the early news of the show. Now this. We'll let you know if Bo goes full, artist formerly known as Bo.
Oh, to Bo on Kickstarter, starting soon.
It's very exciting. Let's get to this today. The big news of the day, and I was really hoping it would be because it was Thursday, and honestly, it hasn't been a giant news week in video games. But there was a Nintendo Direct today, and a few things got leaked. Yeah. It turns out a lot of the leaks were correct. We're getting a new Kirby game. I want to talk about this
proper 3D Kirby game.
Yeah, I need to explain what this is. Kind of the trailer's worth watching. First of all, if you've got time to kick that in and give it a view, it will tell you a lot about what to expect from this Kirby game. However, it's weird. It starts out like all kind of apocalyptic and dystopic, and everything's overgrown with weeds. The city is in dilapidated, sort of condition. Overgrowth everywhere. Like I said, these buildings have, look like a real mess happened here. But it's still kind of cartoony looking, so it's not like ugly. It's just it looks like humans have vanished, and have been for a long time. Kind of what's the Will Smith movie? I Am Legend kind of style is what it reminds me of. And then you find out it's a damn Kirby game. And I guess Kirby's got to find out. Let's see, they list it here. If I can find it. Kirby and the Forgotten Land is a 3D platformer launching on the Switch in spring of 2022. It says, is that all it says? That's all I have. Crap. Somewhere else I read that he's got to find out what happened to the world. So this big 3D open world, he's got to go figure shit out. And let me tell you right now, I am 100% here for this game. I am ready for this. Bring it on. Put it on my Switch. I'm going to play this all night when I get it. I'm totally excited. Except that
I love Kirby as a character. I think Kirby's great. I have never really... It's so weird because I'm trying to think. I don't know if I've ever played a proper Kirby game.
And by proper, you mean like any of the mainline Kirby games. Like we're not
Right.
talking, where he's part of Smash Brothers or shit like that. You're like, like Kirby's Big Adventure or Kirby's Weasel Attack or whatever the hell it was last time. I don't remember.
I think the most I ever played of one was when I was working at a well-known video game retail store.
Yeah.
And to pass time, I would play the 3DS one, or not the 3DS, just the DS one, where you drew on the screen and then he'd roll around on whatever you drew.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the only Kirby game I ever played any large amount of.
Kirby's Epic Yarn. That was, or no, that's the newer one.
It was like something about it was. I think it was the time when everything was like DS. So wouldn't it be?
It was
no, maybe it wasn't.
It was Kirby's not Dream Collector. Kirby. Not Dreamland. That's old Game Boy.
Drawing stuff. Kirby
draw
stuff.
shit and then ride on the shit you drew.
Yeah.
That was a very innovative, cool game at the time. I can tell you by looking at this trailer, what this looks like to me is there's some subversive stuff in here. He becomes Link at one point and fights some monsters in Link form, which is pretty great. But this looks like more of the open world Mario type game. But with all the weird shit Kirby can do, 100% in. I'm all in on this. And I don't even care.
Yeah.
Obsidian says Mario Odyssey reskinned. That's fine, too. I don't care. I love that game. That was one of the best games I've ever played in my life. So bring it on. I don't care how cute it is. Put all the sugar right on top. Don't care. I'm in. I'm all in. And also, it's weird. Think about it for a second. Kirby's in the Mad Max town and trying to figure out what happened to the world. That's freaking weird.
Yeah.
Right?
I bet it's something to do with King D.
Yeah, King Dildo Donkey Dung. What is it? What is his name? He has a real name.
It's like King Dedede. I just don't remember how many D's it is. It's D.
Let's see. Enemy for Kirby. Okay, we got the Kirby Wiki. Our big bosses are no. King Decade? Who the hell's that? I don't know who that is.
I mean, we're all fighting that boss. I think that might actually be the answer right now. We're dealing with it. We're in the middle of it.
I can't find it. Yeah, there was a character called... Okay, so there's Mega Knight, King Dedede. Oh, there it is. King Dedede. Oh, yeah, he's like a little shitty bird with a hammer.
Yeah.
Yeah, he sucks. I freaking hate him. Here, chat. I don't know why I'm so emotional about it, but I really don't like him. There he is. See? You know this character, everybody. In fact, I feel like I've seen him in something else.
Yeah, well, I think he was in, like, didn't they do a Kirby cartoon? And didn't he talk, and wasn't he always like, we gotta get that Kirby? Like, he talked like that. He had a great voice.
I don't know. Is that true?
I don't know.
Okay. I'm going to believe you.
I have no idea where I obtain this knowledge. I just have it. It's like I'm plugged into some sort of, like, pop culture machine, and every now and then something just comes into my head.
So if we take times 9. Sorry, I'm doing a little math here. That's 36. I don't know why I couldn't do that in my head. 36 Kirby games. This will be the 37th of the Kirby.
How have I never played one then? That's the craziest part.
Isn't that nuts? That's nuts to me. I mean, I guess, you know what? They might be counting Smash Brothers. Let me look. Shit. Okay, well, now I lost it. But maybe that's counting stuff where he's a little crossover guy.
Yeah.
Or something. But still impressive, you know? I don't think people go, hey, let's talk about those mainline Mario or those mainline Nintendo characters, huh? Let's start with Mario. Oh, yeah, Link. Yep. Kirby. No one does that. Do they? They say Samus, and then they say Wario, and then they say, I don't know, everybody else, Luigi, because he's got his own mansion, his ghosts and all that bullshit. Like, they get right into those characters. Nobody talks about Kirby anymore. And I'm here to say no more. Let's get a good Kirby game out, and I'll play it till my eyes bleed. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah.
Bo, any thoughts?
Nope.
Not really.
I think I played Kirby on Game Boy a lot, like the LCD Game Boy a long time ago, but not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me either. I mean, it's not like I played like 3 of them, so I totally get that. He's also really popular in Smash.
Game.
He's like in Smash Brothers. He's enormously popular pick. I don't know if he's like S tier or what he is, but he's supposed to be real good.
Well, he's the only one that survived that cutscene in Smash Brothers. Because they
Oh.
have that cutscene in Smash Brothers where all the Super Mario guys died.
That's right.
And Kirby's the only one who survived. He had to bring everybody back.
Yeah. No one saw that coming. I didn't.
That's canon. That happened.
That did
That's
happen.
in the lore
Yeah.
of the well-respected and beloved lore of Super Smash Brothers.
There you go. That's the one. We got our final Super Smash Brothers Ultimate's final DLC fighter will be revealed in early October. We got news that was coming. I can't believe they actually said, and don't forget in October, the last. Whatever. Smash fans, you know who you are. You're stoked. That's good enough for me. It's totally fine.
Well, I mean, I honestly get out your torches and pitchforks because, they said it's going to be the last one, which means if you were disappointed by an announcement before, which they kind of universally tend to be,
yeah.
now they know this is it.
Yeah.
So all the people that are there going, it's going to be Goku or whoever it's going to be. They're certain it's going to be whoever.
Yeah.
Now's the time where they're going to find out finally, no, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll finally get that out of the way, and that's the last one. They're not doing any more.
Nope.
Any official anything anymore. So Waluigi will never, ever set foot in a Smash Brothers game.
Waluigi, no, you're right.
We're all better off for this, truth. Okay? I'm just telling you. He's the worst Nintendo character of all time. Challenge me, John. Convince me I'm wrong. Who's worse?
Okay, I'll convince you you're wrong.
Go.
So on Twitter, after all, we'll talk about the casting decisions.
Yeah.
But somebody posted a fake casting for the Mario movie, and it was so good that I'm on board, and it is Willem Dafoe as Waluigi.
Yeah, I like it.
Tell me that's not perfect, and tell me it doesn't make you like Waluigi just a little bit more.
A little bit better, yeah. A little bit better. Although I want Waluigi to bust into the room and catch Robert Pattinson smacking his wiener in the lighthouse. If you haven't seen that movie, this won't make sense what I just said. Anyway.
I want to see that. I haven't watched
that movie's good. The acting's insane. They're both amazing in it. And it's a very depressing, dreary piece of work, but it's a hell of a movie. I really liked it. Some people in the chat got it. All right. What else? Animal Crossing. They're getting their own direct in October, and they say the Roost is coming soon. So Brewster and the Roost will also be coming to the game in the near future. I guess that's the owl, right? Do I have that right?
No
but
idea.
The owl was already there. He curates the museum.
Yeah,
right?
but did
Is
he have
there another owl?
Did he have his roost? Did he?
I would assume someone named Roost would be a rooster.
Oh yeah, good point. Hold on.
Maybe he's a roost canal.
Well, no, his name is. No, it is him. The roost. Okay, open 24/7. Yeah, no. This is him. That's a new thing up inside of the museum that you go to, and it's his. So that's his name.
So it belongs to the owl.
The owl is called what? What's his name?
Blathers.
Oh no, you're right. Brewster. Who's Brewster? All right, it's all very
you guys
confusing.
play this game?
That's a fair question.
I mean, not in a
Like,
while.
what is anybody named in this game?
It was my pandemic comfort food, as it was, I think, for a lot of players, and it was so much so that I played the living hell out of it to the point now where I kind of don't want to look at it for another 2 years.
Brewster is a pigeon.
Oh, okay. So if he's a pigeon, maybe Brewster has nothing to do with the roost, is what I'm saying. These are separate.
No, he's 100% tied to. Well, I don't know. But Brewster's there.
All right. Oh, okay. So Brewster is the coffee shop owner. That'll be up in the. Oh. I don't know. Dude.
Everybody knows.
Animal Crossing.
You know what everybody's really thankful for today? They're like, man, I'm so glad Core decided to talk about Nintendo games because you got two guys that don't know anything about it and one that doesn't care. So it's a real good news day for everybody.
Look, if you're looking for expert Animal Crossing commentary, we are probably not going to provide it. That's all I'll say about that. Okay. What else? There was a rumor that we'd get a new Bayonetta. We are indeed getting a new Bayonetta. We just talked about her the other day.
Yeah, it was in the NVIDIA leak last week.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's right.
I believe you could quote us as saying it's not going to happen.
Yeah. I think you can still quote us as saying that's not coming to PC. But
Right.
going to going to the Nintendo thing that they own and they own that developer now, yeah, of course it'll come there. So anyway, that's happening. She has braids, so take that for whatever you think that might be worth. Let's see, November they're getting the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake as well. Ooh.
No, not
No?
the remake.
No. Oh, just
No,
the old one.
I
It's
guess
not the
just the old
remake.
one.
I thought maybe they'd do a dumbed down one that was like less, just didn't have as much.
Well, they
fidelity.
are. It's called the original version of the game. That's the
Boo.
version that they're getting.
Well, that's boo. Because, well, okay, so that tells me something. I was worried when they made the announcement at the Sony, for what's it called? Sony, whatever, showcase.
Sony. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was Forward, but that's Ubisoft. Anyway, what was I going to say? I forgot.
You were worried
Knights
about
of the
it.
Old
Oh,
Republic.
I
Knights
was
of the
worried.
Republic,
Okay,
you're worried
because there's been a lot of hay made about. Okay, well they're redoing it. It's a remake, not a remaster. So we're not just getting up-res textures and better resolution. This is going to be from the ground up. They're going to rebuild it in a better engine or a newer engine, and it's going to look amazing. And they've said that. Yeah. What they haven't said is anything significant going to happen to gameplay and just some of the systems in the game that are quite honestly out of date. As much as I love that game, there are things in there that are, they're not great in a modern context. And so I kind of had this feeling that, they'll do some of that as well, like they did with your Final Fantasy VII thing, which is so different. But, they changed a lot of stuff like that under the hood, and I was hoping that would happen here. They've not said they were, but that's what I had hoped. When I heard that this was coming sort of on the heels of that announcement, and they announced this today, at first I thought, well, this is that remake, but now that you say it isn't, like, is this going to be, does this tell me the new one, the remake, is going to have the same exact systems? That's what I'm saying.
No, I think it's gonna be different. I think it's gonna be reworked.
Okay.
I mean, that's what remake implies so far. I mean, it's not like a legal term that if you do it a certain way, you're gonna be you're gonna officially run afoul of everything. But there are expectations. And there are a lot of remasters going around. Yeah. And it's still... Remake is a relatively unused word, right? So Diablo 2's getting around it by calling it Resurrected. Yeah. But it's essentially a remake. Like, they probably did a lot of technical work on it, but it's just looks prettier, right? They kept all the base systems in place as much as possible. That was... I mean, I don't know if the final product's going to have that. But that's to me, that's a remaster. It's the exact same game. Better fresh coat of paint.
Yeah.
Yep.
A remake, Final Fantasy VII, is the only remake game, and they remade the crap. It's a whole new game from the ground up with the original, keeping in the spirit of the original, but doing its own thing. And it is nothing like. It's everything like the original and nothing like the original. Mm-hmm. So Knights of the Old Republic remake is going to be an entirely new experience. I don't expect my expectation. They use that word on purpose. So we're gonna find out if that word means anything to anyone other than Square Enix with the release of this game, because it could be shit garbage. It
could be a shit garbage. Yeah,
it could be shit garbage, like just like they remaster it and the controls are bad and all those things you're talking about, or it could be a brand new re-envisioning of systems, gameplay, just keeping the story for the most part intact, but modernizing it.
We're also going to find out if Square Enix stands by that as a term, because Final Fantasy IX remake is now a thing that is getting talked about.
Really?
So we're going to find out if Square Enix maintains the remake and what it means versus
that's
remaster.
Interesting. But that tells me they may not be doing that, because if 7's other part isn't even out, or how many parts is 7 supposed to get? Just 2, or is it more?
They haven't announced actually, but
I would expect 3 or 4.
Guessing on how much content from the original was in 1. Yeah, John is right. It's 3 or 4. 2 is not going to end with 2. I can't.
I mean, it seems too big, right?
They didn't even make it through all of the first disc, right? Like,
No.
7 was 3 discs, and they didn't even get through disc 1 with remake number 1.
And arguably, it's still the smallest portion of the game too. Like, hours-wise, it's maybe a third or less of your total hours played, depending on how much you do. But the one thing is Final Fantasy VII Remake is very corridor-like, where Final Fantasy VII does have an open world component where you go to different places and do things. So they could easily end it with 2. Like they also could just say like, well, we're not going to tell the whole story that we did in 7. We're just going to get the essential bits and make a 2-part experience.
Yeah.
Like that's possible as well, I feel.
Sure.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just wish they'd all put it in 2 because I don't want to spend a decade waiting for game releases. Like just remake the thing, please. So my hope is that the second one is the last one and just cram it all in there, please. But
Yeah,
we'll see.
That's me too. I want to play that game, but I kind of don't want to wait forever and feel like I'm always on the hook for it. I don't know. They gotta. It doesn't seem like they should. It's
Final
just
Fantasy 13 had 3 parts as a recent sort of indication. That wasn't a remake, but they did end up releasing 3 parts of 13. So it's pretty. I could pretty easily see there being 3 parts for Final Fantasy.
So hold on a second, John. If they're going right to 9, what happened to 8?
It got skipped. It's like here's the thing. Here's the only reason why I think there's going to be a remaster of 9, or not remaster, a remake. Apparently they are going to be doing a television show based on 9.
Oh.
And as a result, they are going to probably have a lot of high quality assets and art and a lot of attention to it. And
is 9 known for its movie potential, TV potential? Like, is that the thing?
It has a lot of bright, colorful characters. You can see it being something that's very appealing to people. Like, I think 9 over the years. So at the time that 9 came out, I don't think it was super well received, but I think it's gotten a lot of attention as the years have gone by, and it's kind of become like that secret gem of the PlayStation era. Like it's kind of that thing where you'll hear a lot of Final Fantasy fans go, "Oh, I like 7," or "Oh, I like 8," but then in both camps, both are like, "Yeah, but 9 was pretty good." Like 9 gets a lot of additional like also ran kind of love, and I think it's really good. Honestly, I would consider it one of my favorite Final Fantasies. Like it's the one in an era where they were going to cars and future tech and all of this sort of stuff. It was the one that went back to crystals and jobs and villages and knights and airships and like kind of all the old classic tropes of Final Fantasy. So
arguably 8's weird as shit too.
Yeah.
There's a cowboy in it. Like I mean, say it's good, let's say, like being weird is not immediately a thing to say like it's bad, but as a saleable product, I mean, I'm just like, what is it? It's just like it's a bit of a train wreck. Even though it still can be good, I just don't know how you remake 8, honestly.
Yeah. 8 is definitely weird. I'm a huge fan of 8. Until Remake got me into 7, I was a Final Fantasy 8 fan, and I was like, I don't know why people like 7. I like 8. But whatever.
I've played both. They're both good in Final Fantasy way.
Yeah.
But yeah, 8 would be a weird way to... I mean, 8's just a bizarre thing. You've got a school full of soldier kids that they're just like, it's like Hogwarts, but what if instead of wizarding, they were in the military? Like, it just sort of translates a little weirdly nowadays.
It's just weird. The cowboy guy, they have the gun blades is the big thing, is their weapons. I don't know, and I forget, but I just know it gets weird towards the end.
Oh yeah, they've all got amnesia. They were all orphans. They all knew each other, but they don't remember it. Like it gets bizarre. But I love all Final Fantasies are weird. What can I say?
Yeah, that's a given. But are the Gunblades? Is that the origin of Gunblades? Was that game? Because I never knew where those first showed up. Oh, interesting.
Because it has the mechanic where when you're hitting, you can trigger the gun and do extra damage by holding the trigger.
Because there's some Gunblade business in that animated 7 thing. What was that called? Advent Children. Didn't that have some Gunbladey act?
No,
I remember that wrong?
I don't remember.
No. 8 was the big. I remember when 8 came out. It's like the main character has a gunblade. Oh my god, it's so cool. Like so it's not in 7, but there are guns in 7 for sure.
I think where I effed up in my head, I think I'm mixing it up with like a Devil May Cry intro or something, because that was basically a gunblade. Right?
Yeah, 8 is the most Devil May Cry of the Final Fantasies, I think.
Really?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Is it turn-based or action-y or what?
Well, it's turn-based. It's traditional, good guys on this side, bad guys on this side, click the fight or spell button menus.
It's just a little more rock and roll than Final Fantasy had
was 12 the first one where that really drastically changed? Because it feels like 12 was it. where 3D models moving around, a pseudo pause turn-based thing, or
Yeah.
No, is it? Because 13 is menu-based. Like 13, at least the first one is
Is
very
it?
like menu-based.
I just can't
Yeah, but
remember.
12 played like an MMO. Like it
Oh.
played like an offline MMO. So I guess you could
Okay.
say 11 technically was because it was an MMO
Oh,
and
right.
played differently, but 12 played the same way, and then 13 went a little bit back to menu. Like it tried to walk the line, it felt a little bit.
Mhm.
I don't remember though.
Well, I've played a lot of 13. I really liked 13, but it's over the shoulder until then you get into battle, and then battle starts, and
Okay.
it's menu stuff.
Mm.
It's like a return to form.
And that's the one that
Kinda
just hit
deal.
Game Pass, right? We were talking about.
Yeah, it's on Game Pass. It has 2 sequels.
Still kind of tempted.
Give it a whirl.
Still.
Yeah,
a
we
little
still
tempted.
need to get you to play a Final Fantasy game.
I have played a
Yeah.
whole bunch of them. I just haven't finished any of them. So
Just play Final Fantasy VII Remake, though. I mean, if we're gonna get them to
Yeah.
play one.
I played 7
play
back in the day and didn't finish it. I played one of the early SNES ones, didn't finish it. Don't remember which one it was. That was way long ago. And then the what's the other one? Oh, 15. Played a bunch of that, didn't finish it. So yeah, I have this thing where I start them and I get like 4 or 5 hours in, and then I
Maybe
fall.
don't play them then if you don't like them.
It's not that I don't like them. I do like them. I think maybe at the time that I played them or was really playing them, I think the anime stories were not hitting the way they hit better now than they used to. Is what I'm trying to say. I have gotten better at accepting certain tropes and stuff as just sort of standard, and it's okay. And just because the guy says 15 times doesn't mean it's bad. Things like that I've gotten better at. But I think there was a time there where I was just like, this is not a story I want to invest myself in because I don't get
Well,
it.
plus, I mean, you're basically in the same position I was, like a month ago?
Mm-hmm.
Because I had played almost every single one and had never beaten a single one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Now I've beaten 3 of them.
Yep. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and you've done so very quickly. Like, remember when those games first came out for the NES and SNES, people would play them for years because there were no other video games coming out at any sort of clip that felt like they, could go buy another one right away. And now these days, John beats them in 3 weeks. Just tore right through them, man. All 3. Amazing. You're still in 4, right? That's happening?
Yeah, 4's been a little slower going. Things have been busier. I haven't gotten to play as much. But yeah, I'm playing 4.
Nice.
It's good. Scott and John they've got an intense rivalry, but they finally you got mind controlled is the problem.
Oh,
You
boy.
turned on us.
Yeah.
You captured Bo and held her hostage. In case anybody doesn't know, I changed the names of the characters in Final Fantasy
Yeah,
IV.
clearly. Yeah.
Mm.
This isn't us he's really talking about, but
Yeah.
I'm a
effigies.
prisoner now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're somebody's
Scott's
lady prisoner, and I have turned on everyone. So
Yeah.
just like real life, we got this.
Yeah, it's great. It's an adventure and it's a fantastic story. 4 is actually really dials up the drama pretty heavily.
Yeah.
You've got some really dramatic beats, lots of characters die in pretty awful ways, and it's dramatic because they blink. They appear and disappear, and they blink and then they disappear forever, like a Jedi.
Oh my gosh, that is dramatic. It's very dramatic. Oh, I was sorry. I was sad this week to hear the news about that voice actor for Final Fantasy that passed away. Everyone loved him. I guess.
Yeah, he was really, really good, and they did vigils in the game for him and all of that. It was very nice.
Yeah, he just passed. Let's see, his name is Stephen Critchlow, and he played that character he's the elf with the mustache.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
That I was convinced was going to be a villain. I was like, look at this guy. He's got a mustache. He's got a cane. He's got to turn on us, right? And then he ended up just being one of the nicest, best people in the whole world.
Yeah, he goes against type. This guy, he's not what he appears to be, which I guess there's a lesson in there somewhere. But anyway, that was sad to hear. I guess everyone really liked him too. He's a super nice guy.
Yeah.
All right. He also did a bunch of other stuff, I guess. Episodes of Doctor Who, Torchwood, Killzone 3, Xenoblade Chronicles 2. He's been around. Yeah. All right. Sorry. Where were we? I don't know. Oh, this other Nintendo stuff. So look at this here. We mentioned the Old Republic already. Where's the other one? There it is.
Breath of the Wild 2.
Oh yeah, Breath of the Wild 2, which we already knew about, but I guess did we get a date? We did not get a date.
I didn't notice.
I don't think so.
We got a date yet. Doesn't surprise me. Oh, the one I'm actually kind of interested in, because I think the best part of the Mario Party games are the incredible mini games that there are to play in them. And I always wish when I would play Mario Party with the kids or friends or whatever, that I could just skip all of this waiting around board game stuff and just do a bunch of these mini games and just have a giant tournament style mini game fight with my friends. Well, that's basically what they're making. Mario Party Superstars, they showed gameplay and maps. This game comes out on the 29th of October, so this year. And I'm weirdly excited about that as a family gather around the TV, let's be idiots kind of experience.
Yeah, I think that'll be good for my household too.
Yeah.
They pulled 2, and it's out now on the Direct with they announced an ActRaiser game.
Oh, that's a callback.
Yeah.
ActRaiser Renaissance, which is out now and immediately. And while it is probably not the bigger deal of them, it's the one I'm more interested in, so I saved it for second, which is the Castlevania Advance Collection.
Oh, that's like 4 or 5 games.
All the Game Boy Advance Castlevania games.
Yeah.
Those were really good. Those were some of the best Castlevania games that got published. Some of which very much in the spirit of Symphony of the Night. So I really, really liked that, especially Aria of Sorrow. It contains Castlevania Circle of the Moon, Harmony of Dissonance, Aria of Sorrow, and it actually also contains the SNES game Dracula X.
Oh, no way. That's cool.
Yeah. So
that's pretty rad.
That's another one that was available right away, and I think I will pick that up just to play Aria of Sorrow again, which was a extremely cool Castlevania game.
Yeah, those were good. GBA game. Some of the best, like second and third tier Nintendo properties, saw some of their best outings on the GBA. I think those Metroid games are amazing on there.
Yep.
Like arguably better than their counterparts on the other stuff. There's a couple of really amazing Zelda games on the GBA as well. There was one called oh no, that was DS, but it was a cool one with the train. There was like a train. Do you remember that?
Spirit Tracks.
Spirit Tracks was great. Oh man.
Yeah. They did some awesome handheld stuff. Like that's why I'm always shocked when they do their big stores and it's like, we've got NES games and SNES games, and it's like, guys, some of your best stuff was on handheld business. Like, where's this? So I'm glad we're finally getting some of that, because some of those games are just the best content that Nintendo has put out.
Well, good news if you want more of that sort of thing, because they also announced something kind of crazy. Let me pull it up here. They announced they're adding to their online service, which is currently running, I think, under $4 a month, and you get access to a ton of NES, Super NES, mobile stuff, some other things that kind of connect to it. You get all of that for that price, and plus Tetris 99, and these weird add-on games they put in there, and then it lets you also play multiplayer games online. They're going to add this as an expansion pack, which is an interesting monetary thing to do, but they're adding N64 and Genesis games to the lineup. So the unholy union has finally happened. Nintendo, Sega, in bed at last on one console. Yes, that's right. I mean, I guess this stuff's been available in other packs and other things, so it's not that big a deal. But as somebody who survived that great war of the mid-90s, it's just weird to see. But yeah, you'll be able to get some Nintendo 64 games and Genesis games. They did not say exactly which ones, but they did name a few.
They did reveal some of them.
Yeah, they did
we
some.
know Super Mario 64, Mario Kart 64, Star Fox 64, Yoshi's Story, Zelda Ocarina of Time. This one was wild. I don't know if you played it. Win Back gonna be on there.
Oh yeah, the cover first cover mechanic. Some people think.
Yeah. It also, and the blind fire where you just shoot up over your head and you don't actually aim. Like, I forgot how many people played Winback. I thought it was just something I owned, but seeing people get excited about Winback of all things has been crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Mario Tennis and Dr. Mario 64.
Fine selection. It's a reminder that the N64 lineup was, during an awkward 3D phase, and some of that stuff's fine. But Winback is interesting as a relic, and I mean, I want to say those guys who did the first Gears games were like, "Oh yeah, Winback, huge inspiration. We're totally going to do that mechanic," and that's where they figured it out.
Yeah.
But some of these others, like, there's no golf, right? Oh, that only happened in Cube times, maybe?
Yeah, not yet. I don't remember. But they did say more coming. They mentioned Majora's Mask and F-Zero. So
right.
there's
Pokemon
definitely
Snap.
going to be more coming. And I heard, as weird as it sounds, but I saw a tweet about it, that Banjo-Kazooie is coming back.
Oh, yeah,
on
it says
So,
right here. That's weird. I thought Microsoft owned the rights to that now. Maybe they do.
I don't know. Maybe they're working together.
Weird.
For Genesis, you got Castlevania Bloodlines, Contra Hardcore, Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, Echo the Dolphin, hell yeah. Golden Axe, Gunstar Heroes, Phantasy Star 4, Rise Star, Shining Force, Shinobi 3, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Streets of Rage 2, Strider.
Yeah.
And I can't tell what this other one is in the picture.
I'm
not looking at a list.
It's a decent lineup. It's funny they skipped right over Sonic the Hedgehog 1. I don't know what that's about, but maybe get that in there. But yeah, like it's a bunch of stuff. Some of that, I owned most of that at the time. I played Gunstar Heroes till my eyes almost fell out of my head once. I played till like 3 or 4 in the morning. I was doing like bow hours back then. It was bad. But anyway, seems like a thing. They got a deal going. You're going to get your Nintendo 64 and your Genesis on. And my guess is they don't have pricing yet. They're going to announce that later. But my guess is another $3 get you this or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, hey, if you want to spend even more money for a more authentic experience, they are also putting out compatible controllers so that you can play your N64 games with a N64 controller and your Genesis games with a Genesis controller.
Nice.
So,
what if I already have? I kind of have those in USB form. I wonder if those will work. They might.
They're each $50, which seems way too much for at least the Sega Genesis one. Especially because it's not the cool 6-button one.
It's not. It's the 3-button. Boo!
Yeah. If you're gonna spend $50, you got to give me the 6-button Genesis controller.
Boo! That's terrible. All right,
I would pay that much for an N64 controller, though. I don't know that I will.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that I would.
I might, and if it's, is it bigger or smaller? I guess we don't know. It'd have to be the same, right?
No, it's the same. Yeah.
Okay. Kind of want one.
They're big. I'm like, if you're gonna say it's $50, like the N64 controller is a big controller.
Yeah, you can do a lot smaller out there than them. Anyway, so that's coming. And I guess online members will soon be able to pre-order all this stuff. Where everyone else will have to wait until they sign up. But that's the deal there. Splatoon 3 got announced. They showed gameplay. They have a single-player campaign called Return of the Mammalians. I really liked that last game, Splatoon 2. I think this could go places. I think it's my favorite design of like new, edgy Nintendo characters that don't exist in the other pantheon. There's something cool about them. Don't know what it is. It's very 90s, but I don't know. I like it. Yeah. What else? Monster Hunter shit. We'll skip over that because who cares? Just kidding. I know a ton of you do, but it's just an expansion pack for Monster Hunter Rise. You already know what you're getting. You know who you are. You'll be happy to get it. We did Animal Crossing. Who are we missing here? Shigeru Miyamoto announced the cast and release date of the Super Mario Brothers movie. We better talk about this now.
Yep.
This is okay. So the internet's on fire right now with this news because it was announced that Chris Pratt has been cast as Mario. Now, quick reminder here, even on the show, because I had to remind myself, this is not a live action movie at all.
Right.
This is a animated 3D Pixar-style film that's being made, and they have hired Chris Pratt to be the voice as Mario. So in that context, we should be as critical or not critical as we want to be of this choice, but just know the context. This isn't him with a hat doing his Bob Hoskins, moment on camera. That's not what this is. All right. That being said, how do we feel? You know what? As a Canadian who just sees the rise of Chris Pratt from afar, Bo, How did it land on you when you heard that Chris Pratt was going to be Mario Van Mario?
Well, I found out like pretty much because I saw it in the show notes.
Yeah.
I didn't find out before, and I was like, eh.
How do you feel
That's
now?
pretty,
You just
I
kind of
like,
mad on it?
like, does it make me excited? No.
Yeah.
I'm like, will it be good? Maybe. I mean, I'm not going to judge it ahead of time. You know, he's can be funny. I enjoyed him in Parks and Recreation. He's okay as Star-Lord. Like, he's not my, it's not my favorite. You know, but he's funny. He's good. You know, but I'm not like, I don't know. I'm not like, oh my God, Chris Pratt's in a movie. Holy shit, better go see that thing. I'm just like, you know, like whatever. Like,
we're
I'm
probably
very meh on it.
We're probably past that point.
It strikes me that I haven't heard his like ham Italian or Mario-fied Italian take on things. So usually he's like, he sucks and he acts all adorable by sucking, right? You know, like that's kind of his shtick. Like he's a little dumb, but he has a lot of heart. His characters are kind of like that. He plays a type. So I'm not sure how like, what's this plumber type gonna be? Like, I'd much rather have Bob Hoskins than Chris Pratt. You know, like I don't think it's particularly good casting, but maybe it'll be great. The whole cast list sounds weird to me. It sounds like we're not going to take this seriously. We're going to get a bunch of goofy people to play goofy things.
I don't know.
The only one I'm really excited about is Fred Armisen because he's amazing.
He's cranky.
And I think whatever he's going to do here is going to be great. But the rest of them are just like, you know, Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong. Like, I don't. If he could personify Donkey Kong, like I don't want to judge ahead of time. Maybe it'll be amazing, but like I don't see it. I'm like,
what if he goes, hey Mario, weed is great. Well, that's the whole thing.
Exactly. I'm like, I don't know about any of this.
You're selling me on this movie.
I mean, those are his things he's known for, is laughing.
I mean, even Jack Black as Bowser. I'm like, Jack Black energy as Bowser. I'm like, I'm not into any of this cast list, honestly.
Well, they'd have to. There are some weird ones here. Charlie Day as Luigi. Maybe. Like, are they gonna don any kind of accents? If they are, these are bad casts. As far as I know, Chris Pratt doesn't do a very good Italian person, and why don't you just hire an Italian, someone with that accent?
I mean, I guess that's where my problem is exactly too. Is we haven't exactly seen Chris Pratt reach as far as range goes for things. Like, yeah, he's fine in the Lego movie, but he basically plays doing Chris Pratt's voice. Yeah. Like you can interchange all of his characters, like, and whether they're goofy or serious is kind of the, you know, how are we rotating that dial seems to be all that we get out of him.
Yeah.
Maybe he ends up being great, but I don't see it because based on the body of work, I go, well, that's an odd choice. You know, I think that Captain Lou Albano and Bob Hoskins both probably provided a better Mario voice than I think Chris Pratt would. Neither of them are alive, so, you know, not options. But, you know, it's well documented on the show that I wish that Mario sounded more like just a Brooklyn plumber.
Well, and he could do that. Pratt maybe has a really good Brooklyn thing.
I don't think he does, though. Like, that's the thing. Is maybe he does, and if he does, I'm all in.
Okay.
Yeah, but they're not going to do Brooklyn.
I think he does.
They're not going to do Brooklyn harsh. Like, aren't they supposed to do the more like the weird Nintendo Italian? Like,
I don't know.
It's me, a Mario.
That's the thing.
Let's go into the pipe, a pizza.
If they're going to do that, why would they hire Charlie Day to be Luigi? It doesn't fit.
Exactly. Like, what are they? Again, this isn't Nintendo. Mario's not based on reality. Like, we don't have to like get Italians necessarily. I'm behind that. It's a weird Nintendo world, but these guys don't strike me as weird. I don't know if this is problematic, like mildly effeminate sort of voices that Mario and Luigi, like, hey, I'm a Mario, let's get into this pipe. Like, I picture, like, Mario's characterization of the video games is not, that's what was weird about the original Mario movie, was that they were, hey, I'm Mario, let's go and fix the pipe. Oh shit, there's a Goomba in here. What are we gonna do? Get out of my way, Goomba. Like, you know, again, if you're going that way, there's like, get the cast of Sopranos to act as these characters, not freaking...
Man, that'd be so good.
No,
I know.
That's what I want.
Yeah. Like, this cast list you're going that direction, I got listed names for you that are 1,000 times better than this list.
Yeah.
But this to me strikes as casting for the PR, like almost like here's all the big names we got for your movie, and it's like, yeah, either go full on like hardcore Brooklyn, get some real, get some real good actors for that, or go cartoon crazy, and that way I don't think you get celebrity actors to do this thing. I think you get good vocal talent.
Well, and they have Charles Martinet doing surprise cameos, which he is your Mario, Luigi, Wario, Waluigi.
Yeah, he's your guy.
He's in there. They just don't have him playing any of the roles that he's done. I'm with you, Bo. Like, it's not that I dislike any of these people. I think some people's reaction to Chris Pratt is because a lot of people don't like him right now. But that aside, the only people on this list that I'm like, oh, that seems like cool casting to me is Fred Armisen as Cranky Kong. I think that sounds hilarious, and I'm 100% on board with that.
Yeah.
And Kevin Michael Richardson as Kamek, which is just like, not that I look at that and I go, oh, that's perfect casting, but it's like, I can see that voice with that character, and that seems fine to me.
Yeah.
Everything else, I'm like,
well, the Vivitch lady's fine. She's good.
Oh yeah. Her as Peach would probably be fine.
Keegan Michael Key is probably fine as Toad.
Actually, yes. I take it back. That is perfect. I didn't really think about it.
Yeah.
I hope he doesn't do a voice. I want it to just be his voice.
Well, I mean, okay. Let's just assume that that's what they do here, is just their voices.
Okay.
That works for a lot of these ancillary characters, but not Mario. It just doesn't work.
No, it doesn't work for Mario.
No. He's either got to go Italian plumber, he's got to go New York, Brooklyn plumber, or he's got to go that full Italian thing. And I think that's dangerous, just in general.
I'm not sure about Taylor Joy as well. Like, she might be able to do it. Like, I think that's just an unknown because I've only ever seen her in serious stuff.
She's really good, dude.
Like,
you got to watch
Mario.
She's
super great. That'll probably work. I'm thinking that'll probably work.
What's the chess thing she's in now that won all the awards the other day?
The Queen's Gambit.
Oh, the Queen's Gambit. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's good in the Vivitch. She's real good in that. And she's the upcoming. She's what's her name? Furiosa in the upcoming Mad Max follow-up. So
yeah, but like all serious stuff.
Right, I forgot they were.
Now I found a video of Chris Pratt doing Jason Statham. Let's judge this impression as if it's if he can do this, can maybe he do the other
thing? They're nothing alike, but okay. Let's
just give it a shot. Let's see what we got here. I haven't heard this before. Okay, I'm trying to get audio. All right, here we go. Okay, he's fighting somebody. He's bald right now. He's a fake head on.
And cut. Great job, Jason.
Oh, thanks, Kent. Did all right. Hello. I'm action movie star Jason Statham.
Okay, I kind of hate it. Never mind. That's
bad.
Yeah,
it's not good.
That's bad. Yeah. Okay. Here, who's Towie? Does anyone know who Towie is?
No.
Towie?
Nobody in the world.
Okay, because it says here, hilarious moment where Chris Pratt nails his Towie impression. So let's see what that is. It's not Towley. I wish it was.
It's going to sound right. This is really embarrassing to do in front of a whole room.
Whoops.
So it's like, honestly, I saw this guy.
Okay.
You know what? That isn't bad.
Is it good? I don't know.
That's also not like that isn't like Mario at all.
That's nothing like Mario. That's the point. Like, unless he can go, "Hey, I'm walking here," kind of thing. That's really convincing and not too cartoony. Although this is a cartoon.
It's just he'd probably do it fine, but you have a lot of authentic actors who could do it like gold, right?
Yeah.
It's just
you're right.
I mean, I'd take Joey Diaz voicing Mario. That would be the best casting ever.
Literally, people on this list. There's people on this list doing other voices for other characters that I think would be a better Mario than Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
I think Charlie Day would be a better Mario.
I agree.
Yeah. I think Jack Black would be a better Mario.
Yeah. Yeah.
They just Hollywooded it up. But he's I guess got high Hollywood stock or however they measure those things.
They do. You're not wrong. I think this is the number one casting reason. He will be the first name on there. He'll be the one you recognize. Secondarily, you'll know who Anna Taylor-Joy is, or Anya rather, and all these other names will fall in line. But this is a Chris Pratt vehicle if you're going to hire him to do it because he makes money for the
But
studios.
it's weird. It's a
People like 'em.
cartoon. Like I know they do that for cartoons, but it's not as important for a cartoon, is it?
Not really. No, like you're not
No,
wrong,
like-
but they still, they still go crazy with casting. It's like, I don't know.
Just say Chris Pratt endorses this movie. Like I don't have to cast him. You can just pay for Chris Pratt's name. Chris Pratt presents Super Mario Brothers. And just pay him to present it. You love Chris Pratt? Come see the movie he likes.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I just liked him when he was a little pudgy and on Parks and Rec. He would make me laugh on there.
Yeah, he's a funny guy, but
Now he's
I'm
ripped.
I don't know. Maybe this is he tests well. I've been watching 30 Rock now, and I'm picturing Alec Baldwin pitching Chris Pratt as like he tests well with hippies and women aged 30 to 40, and like it's just like he seems to just be this he seems to have taken this role as a demographic filler for casting stuff. Like it's pretty obvious to me given the roles that he's in. I'm like,
I think Alec Baldwin would be a better Mario.
Oh, Alec Baldwin, he's great. I love Alec Baldwin. Even the stories I hear, he's kind of a terror in some ways.
He's a nightmare as a
person.
human, but he's great in everything. And Kim's also rewatching 30 Rock, and I walked in on a Jack Donaghy scene that just had me laughing my head off. He's really good.
I mean, he's the show for the most part.
Yeah.
Like for me, like I'm like, the other stuff's whatever. I'm like, oh, when is Alec Baldwin back on? It's just
But I guess what I'd kind of hoped here. They were never going to do this, but I had always hoped that if Mario would get a proper animated film treatment, that some really smart, daring, and the studio would allow this, and Nintendo would be behind it. They'd have to do it together, but somebody would figure out a way to make a mostly silent cast, with the exceptions being Luigi knows 2 words, Mario says "it's a me," and this a lot, but nobody else really talks, and try to make a really weird but cool story without having to have everybody talk lines all the time. I think it can be done, but I think the temptation is always like, well, no, this is going to alienate people, especially kids. They're not going to understand. I'm like, they already understand. This is what the game is like, and do it like the way I wish Transformers movies were, where quit having the people talk. I know you want us to relate to LaBouffe and his family, but we don't care about them at all. We care about these robots.
We don't need 10 minutes of oh my god, big Transformers, whoa! That's like 80% of the Transformers movies. We also don't need that. Just like have the Transformers step on the humans and just go splat, and we'll all laugh.
That was really nice. I would like to play this to celebrate it. But Bo Schwartz, everybody, did a little dance for us on the show. That was great.
By the way, the chat room solved the Mario casting thing. Tracy Morgan should play Mario.
Tracy Morgan would
And
be great.
I'm like, that's perfect.
What, do you just make him everybody? That'd work too. I'd be all right with that.
Well, yeah, but at least
Yeah.
Mario.
Yeah.
What's
Tracy
with this
Morgan
pipe here?
Tracy Morgan presents Super Mario.
What's going
I don't
on with
wanna
his
go in
pipe,
that
Liz
pipe.
Lemon? Yeah, he'd be great.
Yeah.
He'd be great.
Amazing.
Anyway, there's your cast. We'll see. We have to wait and see on this deal. Also, what else? Let's see. They announced. We talked about Bayonetta 3, the Hunter thing. What else am I missing?
Bo's big game that he enjoyed, Disco Elysium, got announced for coming to Switch.
Yeah?
So
How you
you're a
feel
Switch
about that? You like
User,
that?
and you want to play the game that Bo's been obsessed with, Disco Elysium.
Yeah.
Yeah, that seems great. It's like a video game book. You just bring your Switch somewhere and read / audio book. Listen.
Sure. Sounds all right. Mario Golf's getting new characters and courses. I'm down for that. I enjoy that game. And like you said, Disco Elysium. Let's see. Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamities expansion got shown off. And that's really it. No big news on the Zelda front. No big Mario things or any of that.
And Dread is coming.
I think
There's
that
one thing that excites me about this is like Dread is on my calendar as a yep, we're gonna be playing.
Yeah, that's a for sure. The big surprise for me, and the thing I'm now actually most interested in, is this weird Kirby game. I need to know a little bit more, but it seems like the strangest idea, and I love open world platformers in the Nintendo style, and I think I would play that pretty heavily. Also, Pokemon Unite, while we're on Nintendo's little platform here, seems a lot better on phones. And mine's all installed and ready to play. I haven't actually had a chance, but I'm hearing impressions all over the place, including John and his wife, that as far as like UI and microtransaction stuff and all of that, the phone version apparently is like an upgrade. Or maybe the Switch version's been patched, John, and we just didn't know. I don't know.
I don't know. I haven't gone and looked, but yeah, the phone UI. Look, you are not going to hear me give a lot of love to a phone game unless it is 100% true and I have no other choice. And it's 100% true. I have no other choice. It's way better on the phone.
Yeah.
She brought it in. She showed it to me. She said, look how nice it looks. And instead of looking like I was being visually assaulted by menus and text and font and just chaos that is the Nintendo Switch version of the game on the main menu, it looked nice and it looked clean and it looked futuristic. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is... If it wasn't on the phone, I'd want to play this game. Right. This is great.
Well, I'm looking forward to playing it because I'm going to use that backbone thing, and that's supposed to be real good with it. Basically, just turns it into the a console version of the game. But yeah, I suspect a big influx of players. Like Bo, if you were really feeling headhuntery and you wanted to take out some noobs, this might be the time because a whole bunch of people will be cross-platform.
Yeah, that's what I was planning on when I was getting into it.
Yeah,
but there's just a lot of games to play. I don't know. I'm spent a lot of time I spent a lot of time playing Heroes, and just to spend a lot of time playing that game right now, it's just not.
Yeah, you're going.
I don't know if it's the one. That's the thing. It's good, but it's not the one.
I think the one might have been Heroes, and then it's just not. They just don't see it as the one that we do.
I think everyone gets into these games at different times in their lives, or at times when it's good. So like dedicating a lot of time to a particular game is like a choice, but for me, I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah, but it's good. I'm happy to hear all the updates. So maybe it is a lot better on Switch, John, by now too. I'm hearing things like they're improving the item enhancements. For example, you get some free item enhancements all the way to 30, so that there's an event going on.
Yeah,
a lot of good stuff.
That's cool.
There.
They didn't. One of the rumors was Mario and Rabbids would get a bunch more showcase, and I think they're going to leave that. That's mostly going to be a Ubisoft job to pimp that. It was last time with the first game, so I would not be surprised to see Nintendo just sort of letting them do that. That doesn't take anything away from it. That first game's awesome, and I really look forward to the new one. But I don't think Nintendo's taking the reins on it this time. But overall, pretty meaty for a direct. They always feel different than anybody else's stuff. These aren't Sony presentations or Microsoft presentations. It's Nintendo's own weird thing, and there's enough there, I think, to call it a quality update. I think a lot of people were really hoping for some last minute news that Breath of the Wild sequel might have still been this year, or at least gotten a release date, and that sucks. We don't have that yet, but all I need them to come out and say is, I don't care when. I don't care anything about that. What I care about is, do the weapons still break? If the answer is yes, I'll probably skip it. If it don't,
I guarantee they do.
If they don't break, I'm all in on your sequel. But I don't ever want to do that again. I hate it.
They probably have had feedback on that. I'd be surprised.
Oh,
it's the most often quoted criticism of that game. I'd be surprised if they left it untouched.
Yeah. They just change it so that they don't break. I don't break 16 weapons while I'm in the same dungeon. Maybe
it
have
may
a guy
still break, but you may get repair tools.
Right.
What bums me out is they had a natural mechanic, storyline wise, built into Zelda, that could have fixed the problem, which was, okay, once you get the Master Sword, you now have a weapon that doesn't break.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but even the Master Sword, you had to go take it and recharge it. I believe is how it worked.
Correct.
And it's like. You could have helped push me towards your weird, dumb weapon breaking mechanic by making that happen. And they could have still had stuff that was more powerful, like Ocarina of Time did with the Bigoron sword or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like, you could have something that was more powerful but had other limitations and it could still break. Whatever they want to do. But it bugged me so much that weapons broke. That's why I never really got into that game.
Because it is I would probably tell you it's maybe the greatest video game ever made if that weapon system wasn't in there, because everything around it is magic. It's all good. But
and I can see already people in the chat are like, it wasn't that bad. Here's the problem. Unless you are the kind of person that's bugged by it, you don't understand how much it bugs us.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where we're never going to agree because it clearly doesn't bother you that much.
Mm-hmm.
but you have to be on our side of the fence and understand how much it bugs us to understand it.
But also, it's not much of a defense to say it's not that bad. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
what that tells me is you agree that it's not great.
Agreement.
Yeah, you agree that it's not great. You maybe don't hate it as much as I hate it, or you're willing to put up with it. But I've never had anybody tell me it's a great system. Like, with no other caveats. We've got plenty of examples out there in gaming of weapons or items or gear that gets old and worn out. What do? Take it to town. Guy repairs it. Take something with you in your bag, and that repairs it. Like, there's lots of ways of approaching this. I just think the worst one is, well, you use that sword up after 4 hits or whatever bullshit. That's the other thing. It was so fast that I felt like I never had enough, and inventory was never big enough for me to feel like I had enough to back me up. And there were times where I straight up like, I'm not going in that shrine today. I should be in there now solving whatever effing problem I got to deal with in that shrine, whatever puzzles, whatever. But I'm not going in there. Why? Because I got like 2 skeleton arms and a shovel, and I don't want to go farm the stuff I actually need. But I also know those are going to break, and I may need that shovel as a backup. Like, that sucks. It's just not fun.
It's kind of like they looked at RPG design, because there's repairing weapons is a thing in a lot of RPGs. Yeah. CRPGs. Yeah. But it's kind of trivial. Like, you kind of repair things, you click a button, ding, 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 you pay some gold, it's done. They're like, we need to expand this to make it awesome. Like, repair systems are so like trivial. They almost might as well not be in there, except what if we made it meaningful? Like, they almost, it's like they went hard on this whole notion of that, and then having you have to make meaningful decisions about your equipment, which in real life would be the case, right?
Yeah,
like, guns get jammed, they need cleaning, like, they don't just operate in the real world.
Well, plus you'd probably have to make
sharpening.
You'd have to make some hard choices too. Like, I don't have enough money to have both my machine gun and my pistol fixed, so I need to decide. Like, nuance is not in the games. Games are just like, oh, here's gold, go ahead and fix it.
Real life, if you swat a sword at a armor, there's a chance it could break or chip, or like, I mean, it's realistic. Like, the way that we play games is so not realistic in terms of that kind of thing. But but it's just like nobody's having fun. It's just like they made a poor decision. Because I think having limited resources or making meaningful decisions on things you have limited items of can produce challenging strategic gameplay. But like, it's just not in the expectation of people playing games. Like, everyone expects to not be dogged down by this stuff,
and that's why I think these short core games do well. It's not just me. they sell well, and a lot of people play them because the gamification is there for fun factor and replicating a super accurate experience of checking somebody out, and well, that's a bad example. Let's use House Flipper's the best example still. It's like, well, do you make it kind of fun to put up wallpaper, or do you make it a nightmare to put up wallpaper? Well, you're going to choose fun, or else no one's going to buy your game. Or the people that do are gluttons for punishment and want to be in a marginalized category of game, and that's fine that those exist. But if you want larger access and more people playing it, you got to make it so we're having fun. And those weapons were not fun for me.
It's not a very realistic game to begin with, so it's a poor argument for.
And that's why it bugs me even worse, because it's Zelda. There's all sorts of magical hoo-ha going on. Don't suddenly get precious about your weapon damage. Like, I don't know.
I think you've got to always acknowledge that there are going to be people that beat Resident Evil with 100 Magnum rounds in their inventory because they didn't want to waste a single shot.
Yeah.
Like, you have to take those gamers into account. Like, they exist. And I think that same mentality is the same mentality that goes, oh, well, I can't use these nice swords, they're gonna break. So I'll just walk around and play an unfun game with these weak weapons and just replace those. Like, you have to understand the logic behind how some people think.
Yeah.
And there are going to be some people that can't get over that hurdle.
Yeah. And it's
just make a different. They have to design a different opportunity cost. What they're doing is trying to make a cost associated with your power.
Yeah,
it's like, that's just one that people don't like.
So even with the thing that I think is almost game breaking, they still made one of the greatest video games ever made by man, and that's with this stupid system. Imagine what you could do without that system. Is what I'm getting at. Take that out of there. Suddenly, you're in the perfect category. You're the best game I ever put time into.
Well, and like we said, we played that Phoenix Rising game, which was very in the same vein, and it didn't have weapon durability, and it was fine. I didn't play that game and go, man, you know what this game needs is these weapons to break all the time.
Does Zelda have difficulty levels? Like, can you play easy, hard, easy,
I
normal,
don't
hard?
think so. Isn't it just a standard run?
Because weapons breaking seems to me like a challenge mode thing
Yeah.
that they could put in the game.
That's a really good point, Bo. Well, actually, I don't remember now. Breath of the Wild difficulty settings. Let's see if this has any, because I don't think it did. So if that's the case, maybe the new one could introduce such a thing and say, here's a toggle for a thing that some of you may want to do, and if you do that, you get extra whatever.
Here's a fun mode that you can play, and then you could even say the way the game was meant to be played, and those people who want to do that. I realize that kind of makes people who play the other one feel bad, but that is how they designed it meant to be played. So I would say
I think that's fine. I don't care if people tell me you didn't play it the way it was meant to be played. If I had fun, I had fun. You know.
Yeah, to me, that's all I care about.
Language it up.
It's not their $50. It's my $50. All right, I've confirmed it. No difficulty settings in Breath of the Wild. They never had any, so that makes sense. I don't remember clicking anything, and I'm not even saying nothing else about the game needs to be dumbed down. It's already kind of a difficult game even without the breaking, and I'm down with that. I like the fights; they were hard. The challenges in those shrines were real. Like, keep all that in there. Just don't have this one tiny extra thing where all I got left is a skeleton hand. I've already used it 3 times, and if I die, well, I got to teleport out of here and start over anyway. And you just kill the fun. It just stops it, brings it to a halt, and you don't need to do that to yourself. Amazing game, though. Okay, that's it for pretty much what's going on. We're going to get into what we played. But before we do that, this week we have a Dear Martha Steam review. Yes, that's right. You heard me. This is John reading a review from Steam in the stylings of a Dear Martha letter from the 1800s. And this is no different. It's for Yakuza Like a Dragon. Enjoy.
My dearest Martha, today I present to you a review for Yakuza Like a Dragon. Martha, someone on Twitter once told me Yakuza is like a Scorsese gangster movie where every 30 minutes is interrupted by an episode of The Simpsons. And I haven't been able to forget it ever since. Yours in this life and the next. You're a damn crab.
You're a damn crab? I'm sorry, crab?
Yeah.
Okay. That's a great name. Very nice. Very nice indeed.
Pretty apt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good description of Yakuza.
I should have said this earlier. I forgot to. The browser, at least the browser version. I don't know about mobile or other stuff, but the browser version of xCloud is now out of beta, or it's available to everybody. It may still be technically beta, but everyone can use it now. And I noticed a way better latency experience when I went and tried it. So something improved since I last fiddled around in there. And you guys, I don't know if you guys have had a chance to check it out, but the reason I bring that up is because Yakuza Like a Dragon was the game I tried. So there you go.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I just thought I could run around the street, see if I have good input lag or not, that sort of thing. And it was great. Super responsive. Better than it was the 2-3 weeks ago when I tried the exact same thing when it was still in beta. All right, let's move on to what we're playing. Whoops. It's all new for me this week for the most part. I still played a ton more of that Gas Station Simulator. It rules. It's the best chorecore game on the market right now. It's janky and ridiculous and weird. And you guys, I got to tell you about this thing that happened in that game because I didn't know about it. I haven't watched anybody's stream, so I didn't know what was going on. And I'd seen a lot of stuff already. I had to pick up a wet poo in the bathroom once and throw it out. Yay,
that's awesome.
I had a snake named.
Fun.
I don't remember his name, but there was a snake that came through the place, and he's not even in there now. They took him out with a hot fix for now until they work out some phobia stuff they want to put options in. But I've seen every weird thing you can think of. There's an alien reset to all the vehicles. If the vehicles are stuck, you just have the aliens come and they flash everybody's memories. It's weird. Anyway. A lot of shirtless customers, just a lot of weird people looking at me, Elon Musk driving the fuel truck, all those weird things aside. This one thing happened I didn't know was coming, but when I first put in the bus stop stuff as an upgrade, way out in front of everything, Suddenly I hear this in the distance. I'm like cleaning a wall. I'm right, Purvis or whatever had put another penis on a wall or whatever. So I was out there washing that off. And I could hear out front, do, 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 do. I'm like, what is happening? It sounded like a German underground like club. And I come around the front, and there's customers milling around, guy getting gas, all this stuff. I have an employee working the register now. And out of this bus comes a string of like 15 plus. I don't know if they're cosplaying. I don't know if they're actual aliens. Some of them had lizard heads. But these guys come out of that thing with that music going, do, do, do. And they're doing like raise the roof dance all in a line. And it is a really weird thing to see in motion. I'll put some video up at some point because I captured some. But they come wandering in there and they just make a mess of things. And they walk around and they knock stuff off of shelves. And they are pissed that the certain kind of ice cream brand isn't there. And they just are a pain.
Picky
and
aliens.
And
Holy
the floor gets all shitty. You have to go like sweep it when they're all gone and everything. And then they have this huge line of like checkout, and they're buying all the alcohol. That's the other thing. So any alcohol I had on the shelves is like gone when they're done.
That's good. You're making money though, right?
Oh yeah, totally making money. And so I go to the register, shing, 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 and you just slowly work through this busload of weird aliens that are still going like this and this German music going. It is the weirdest effing game. And I'm loving it because the loop is good. Yeah, it's amazing.
That sounds like a great experience.
And honestly, it sounds a little accurate because you get a group of people, aliens or not, into a retail store and it just goes bad.
Yeah, it gets bad.
I don't know if I told you what I got kicked out of Walmart for.
No. Stop the presses, everybody. Hold on. Okay, John, now let me give you, we need an intro for this.
It's a new segment. What John kicked out of Walmart.
I have the...
No. Okay, yeah, that'll work. All right, we got a little Wii music for... Okay, so tell us what happened. Why'd you get kicked out of Walmart?
All right, so a group of friends and I, after we had finished watching a movie, we were all, hyped up, post-movie hype.
Yeah.
And we decided to go to Walmart, because that's all you could do in the town where I grew up. That was as fun as it got at midnight. It was like that or Denny's.
Yeah.
So we went to Walmart, and while perusing Walmart, being loud and rowdy at around midnight, we decided that the most fun thing to do would be to go to the aisle where they sold bikes. And we each got a bike, and we each got a bike helmet, which we didn't put on our head, we put on our arm, and we got those big flags that you stick on the back of the bike, that stick way up.
Yeah.
And we held that like a lance, and we rode down the aisle at each other on bikes with a shield and a lance, and we jousted in the aisles of Walmart. And we got about 2 jousts in before we were asked to leave.
Wow,
that's a great reason to get thrown out.
I agree. God. Yeah. I mean, was it dangerous at all? Was anybody going to get hurt with those?
Possibly. Yeah. I mean, we had our shield. It was a bike helmet. What are you going to do?
Yeah,
when you told them you were professionals, right? Before this year.
Yeah. Guys, we've done this many times.
Yeah.
We know what we're doing.
Did you show them a fake permit? Like, the city allows us to film our hot action movie here, and that's what you should have done. Just gone all out.
Just say, I have a right to try out the gear before I get to buy it. Like, this is what I would use it at home.
Kids in my neighborhood would do the same thing on bikes with brooms, but it was outside and our parents were who knows where. Like, this is different. You're in like a public, private.
Yeah, but it was midnight. There wasn't a lot of people there.
Yeah.
That was probably your mistake. There wasn't a lot of people there, so they weren't busy, so they could pay attention to you.
Oh, good point. Yeah, go during some sort of rush time. Do it during Christmas Eve's shopping spree, and then see who stops you then.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Actually, that sounds like a terrible idea. Don't do that. Well, all right then. That's a great story. I'm glad we got to hear it. Yeah, gas station. This thing's great. And the other thing is, it's already quirky from the get-go. It's on Route 66. You're driving a crap jalopy when you find an abandoned station. You buy it. You take a loan out from a loan shark to even afford it in the beginning. Aliens come out of buses. Snakes are in there somehow. I had to pick up a poo. It's amazing. It's an amazing game. And they get pissed at you. Like the guy bringing your beer replacement will pull up to your warehouse, and because you haven't gone out there to open it, you hear this outside. Beep, 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 beep. This guy just leaning on the thing. And you go out there to let him in, and he's all janky, gets out of the car, acts like he's going to smoke or something. You unload it. He gets back in, gives you the thumbs up, and the game's got a glitch right now where the guy driving the truck away is sitting outside of the truck by about, 3 feet, and just drives off as this floating guy parallel to the truck. So it's got bugs and issues. None of it's super game breaking, but It's just one of the most fun, janky things I've been able to play. I really like it. Okay. The 2 games I played this week that are new, I played Sable and Origami 2. And these are both on Game Pass day 1 releases, which is I try to check out new Game Pass stuff when it hits. And Sable I've been looking forward to for a long time. This is that one that's kind of got a, I don't know, definitely an anime hand-drawn kind of influence to it. But best thing I could compare it to would be like Zelda, Journey, I don't know, some kind of hybrid of that. But also there's loot, and there's also open worlds, and there's quests. But it's set in this trippy desert planet kind of crazy colored thing where you ride around on basically hover bikes to get anywhere, and there's some magic involved, and I'm very early in the game. I'm maybe an hour and a half in, so I can't really speak too much to it, but I've done some really fun puzzles in some really big rooms with some crazy mechanics and really cool visuals. This was one that was shown at E3, and everybody kind of went, "Oh, what's this? What's that?"
Yeah, I really like the look of it. I installed it. I haven't played it, but I saw
like
it was
it.
on Game Pass, and I checked it out immediately.
You'll like it for sure. I think this is up your alley, but it also, well, who is this for? People that like Shadow of the Colossus or Ico, or it's in the vein of that, but more like a Zelda game might play. It's third-person camera. There's even a mechanic for when you're trying to climb a steep wall that you have a meter that will exhaust. So what is that called? Stamina meter. Yeah. And I don't think you can expand that meter. Maybe you can, but it feels like it's just there so you don't always hang on something, which has some interesting puzzle mechanics, because if you can get on a big pillar and shimmy around quick enough, you won't run out of your stuff and end up on the next platform and be where you want to be, and so on. I'm all over the place with this description because it's really hard to describe, but visually and kind of art direction wise, it feels like a brand new idea, and that's really drawn me in. The other thing that really pushed me over the edge to make sure to check it out was the glowing review it got on PC Magazine or PCGamer.com. Those guys were this one guy in particular who I follow his reviews just could not shut up about this game. So I'm like, I got to give it a try. It's not perfect. It's got some bugs that are mostly fixable, like a couple of stutters here and there that aren't frame rate stutters. They feel more like, I don't know, non-optimization kind of stutters. Not a huge deal, but they're there. But for the most part, I was blown away by it. It's a really cool game. And I'm early, so I'll keep dinking with it. And your weapons don't break. That's the other thing. I kind of like that.
Nice.
Origami 2, if you ever played Origami 1, not Origami for those who may be mishearing me, but Origami. It's basically, do you guys remember those Tenchu games, the stealth ninja games?
Yeah, you throw a poison rice patty on the ground and someone would go, "Oh," and they'd eat it right off the ground and then they'd die.
Yep, that's the game. I mean, there was more to it, obviously. Sneak up behind a guy, shank him in the back, hide him in the bushes, kind of early Assassin's Creed style combat. That's this. This series is that. It's an indie game. The first one I really enjoyed, played it back a couple years ago, I guess. This is brand new, and it's really great. One of those, you're in the shadows, you got a cool power that lets you kind of ninja leap up to high places and then hide up there and then dive down on your victims and kill them. Every level feels like a bit of a puzzle. It's like guys are patrolling and you need to take them out quietly or avoid them altogether. There's loot and items and clothes and all that shit that didn't exist in the first game. And it's a continuation of the story. Again, didn't have a ton of time before the show tonight, but played a bit of that. It's good. I will be playing more of that for sure. That's a very cool game. Also on Game Pass.
Does it have co-op? I heard it had co-op.
It does have co-op. I haven't tried that at all, but it does. I'm curious. I can see how it would work, because some of these levels are, there's patrolling bad guys all over the place, and you would be a lot more efficient if I could coordinate with somebody to shank this guy on this side of the yard and the other guy who's staring at him the whole time.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I got to kill this guy and either hope he didn't see it because he looked away, or if he does see it, I got to go hand to hand, which is fine. There's a parry system and it's fine. The combat's fine. But the real point of that game is to just stealth the hell out of everything if you can. And in the last game, they had a mechanic where you could hide in the shadows, but it was it would run out pretty quickly, and then getting back in the sun would refill the meter for it. It was a very annoying mechanic. I understand what they were trying to do, so that you just wouldn't lurk in the shadows all the time.
Right.
But they learned that, I guess, that's not as fun, and now that's gone. You still have that ability, but there's no running out. You just have it.
Yeah, it seems highly made up. I mean, if there's a shadow and you're hiding in it, you can in theory hide in there forever.
Totally made
You know,
up.
like,
Yeah.
until somebody looks in, like, yeah.
Yeah.
It also feels like, if you're going to be stealthing, if you're going to tell somebody, hey, you want to play a cool stealth game?
Yeah.
Like, the people that are going to be into that are like, yeah, I want to hide in the shadows.
Yeah.
Okay, but you're only going to be able to do it for a limited time. That's a real, your weapons
When you run out of
break
vitamin
kinda
D, you
mechanic.
can't hide anymore.
Yeah, it's artificial scarcity
What?
at its worst. Not my favorite way of doing things, but it's this one's better in that regard. It also just feels like it controls better. I tried it on both PC and Xbox as I was trying to see if it supported cross save. This one doesn't support cross save, but if you play it on your Xbox and then do it on the cloud, it will carry that over. So there's some stuff there. But that's true of a lot of the smaller indies. They don't necessarily have the same features as the bigger games. But anyway, if you like that kind of thing, and if you're like, oh yeah, Tenchu or even like the feeling of early Assassin's Creed takedowns would give you, that's what this game is. And it's all like true ninja, like dude with a ninja suit, jumping high places, dropping down, ninja swords, shurikens, like it's that stuff. And it's all set in that time, and it's the voiceover is all Japanese with subtitles. It's cool. It's very cool. Yeah, so that's what I played. A lot of Game Pass this week. Installed some other stuff I haven't touched yet, but it was a good week for Game Pass, I would argue.
Yeah, a lot of stuff came out.
Yeah, there's one I barely started called Crown Trick, which is a turn-based roguelike. I totally missed my radar. It's been out for a while on other platforms. I didn't even know it existed. And holy shit, is that my jam. So I'm going to play that like crazy.
Clown Trick?
Crown. I keep saying clown for some reason, but it's Crown.
Crown Trick.
And it's got this great little art style. It's effectively a 2D game, but there's some 3D elements. It's turn-based in the sense that NetHack or Atom or some of those are turn-based, so it's a little more action-y of a turn-based, but as one of those, like very old school concept, but the way they presented it, the way you get upgrades and runes and all that, it's a very cool take on it. But I just cracked that open before the show, so I need more time.
I really want to play, and I don't know if it's any good or not, but I really want to play Skatebird.
Oh yeah,
A lot of
Skatebird.
people have been talking about this, I think in a meme way. Like a lot of the ways I saw it were very like, PlayStation announces Wolverine and Spider-Man and blah, 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 blah. And Microsoft's got Skatebird.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if it was the condemnation they intended for it to be, because I saw it and I was like, I kind of want to play Skatebird.
Yeah.
It's a little skateboarding game where you play as a bird on a skateboard, and it seems cool. I don't know if it's any good, but that's what Game Pass lets me find out for free. I don't have to buy Skatebird. I can just go try it because I'm intrigued.
Most of the reviews say, hey, what if Tony Hawk, instead of Tony Hawk and other people, what if they were little baby birds? What if they were hawks, baby hawks? And what if what if they used your house as the place they went to skate? So it's like stacked up books and magazines, and you're grinding on bedposts and stuff like that. It seems like a fun idea, and it's on Game Pass. It's basically free, so why not? But yeah, it seems all right. I like games about the world, like micro stuff, like. There's a shooter on Steam I want to check out where it's basically Small Soldiers, where you're a bunch of action figures and you're in the backyard and you got to fight the dog, and the bosses are big giant toys that are moving around and stuff or whatever. I like that kind of thing. Like there's something about that always gets me, and this is one of those. So I think you should play it.
I'm with you. I like that stuff too.
Yeah.
So
You should play it and then come back next
try
week.
that at some point.
Yeah. Apparently you can fly. You can flap your wings while you're trying to create more air. So you're just like banging on the air and you're up there. It's pretty cool. All right, there's that. John, tell me about Diablo 2 Resurrected. I couldn't bring myself
Yeah.
to buy it. Do you like it? How is it?
Oh, you're playing that?
Let me tell you about Diablo 2 Resurrected,
Yeah.
so that you can decide very easily if it's something you want to buy or not.
All right.
Because here's what it is. Do you want to play Diablo 2?
I want to play. What would I really want to play is Diablo 4, but I want more Diablo. If that's your question, do I specifically want?
This is not Diablo 4.
Okay, if I specifically want Diablo 2, then I bet I'm in good news here. If I don't, if I want something newer, I should probably just play 3 or some other action RPG. That's my guess.
Yes.
Is what you're going to tell me.
Yes, because this is Diablo 2.
Okay.
And that comes with all the good and all the bad. Let me, to be clear, this game looks great.
Mhm.
They've done a really amazing job on the remaster. They've done the thing that you could, that I do actually like, where you can just hit a button and see how it looked versus how it looks now. I think that's really cool, and it's a neat little novelty, but I don't think you should get the game for those reasons. The new cinematics look really good. All the audio is there exactly as you remember it. The audio has just been put back in the way it was. But the game itself is Diablo 2, which was a fantastic, amazing game back when it came out. And people have since improved that formula quite a bit. And so it unfortunately shows its age in that regard. If you don't care about that, if you just want to play Diablo 2, it's fantastic. It's amazing. It's a great way to play that game. But I found myself immediately looking for quality of life things that have been added. It's in Diablo 3 and later games.
They're not there.
That just don't exist.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, well, can I do a thing where I put a little ring around enemies so they stand out a little more in these dark backgrounds? Nope. Can I do a little thing to where, you know, it'll highlight stuff I can click or look at? Nope. Like, the best you can do is you can have it to where when things land on the ground, the name will appear without having to press and hold a button. Like,
Right. Oh, and you can
it
pick up
appear by
gold
default.
just by running over gold now, like you do in 3.
Yeah, there's some very, very tiny things like that. Like,
Yeah.
you can run over gold. But here's the other thing. I turned that on because I was like, well, I like it in Diablo 3, so I must like it here. It's way harder to do.
Yeah.
Like, the radius for picking up gold is very specific, and I found myself just clicking the gold anyway.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I'm not picking it up. Fine, I'll just click the gold. Just click the gold and I'll pick it up.
Yeah.
And it seemed about 50-50 on whether or not I actually picked it up or dropped it.
Well,
Now,
the good news,
that's
I'm sure the community will make a whole bunch of mods, and oh wait, you can't mod this game. All right, go ahead, continue.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But, you know, I don't want to make it sound like it's a bad game. It isn't. It's Diablo 2. It's a fantastic game. That game has a great legacy. That game is, you know, notorious for a lot of good things that it did at the time. I just think that everybody should be, you know, very clear on what you're getting when you get it. You are getting Diablo 2. They have not remastered the gameplay. They have simply put this game back out, and it looks a lot nicer. And I'm sure they could probably tell you 100 things they did that are better and different. From the time I've spent on it, it feels exactly like how that game did, for good and for bad. It made me want Diablo 4 even more, and it made me honestly want to play Diablo 3.
So that's the review I read in PCGamer.com today at a review, and they said the exact thing. They said, you hit the G key, and so you can appreciate how much better this does look, and it does. It looks amazing. And then you can play it, and if you're really looking for that nostalgia, you're going to find it here. But if you've moved on to other action RPGs, Diablo 3 included, Path of Exile, whatever it may be, you're used to a whole new take or an iteration that's been happening for 20 years on this thing or more.
Yeah.
And now that's gone. Like, all of that innovation stripped out. Now you're back to what everybody copied, but then added their own twist on, including Diablo 3. And that review said at the end, he says, I think I'm just going to go play more Diablo 3 because I realize how great that game is after playing this. And that doesn't, again, not to diminish, people need to understand how massively influential Diablo 2 specifically was for me. It's my gateway drug to all things Blizzard back in those days. It was, as far as I was concerned, the greatest game ever made. For a long time, Diablo 2 would have topped my list, and 3's right up there on my current list. It's an incredibly important thing to me. But knowing this, hearing it from you, and I know enough about how you like to play and what you like, that tells me I probably don't need to buy this.
Yeah, I would say my big takeaway, not far from what it sounds like they said in that review, I came away and kind of the line I would give about this game, it made me wish they had remastered Diablo 3. Because I looked at it and the thing I kept thinking as I was playing it was, man, I wish Diablo 3 looked like this.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I really wanted, as it turns out, because... or I wish this played like Diablo 3.
Yeah.
It's
just
ideally what we're aiming for 4.
Right.
That's
right.
ideally the proposition.
Right, exactly. We want that to be the amalgam of this darker Diablo 2 aesthetic and storytelling and blood and guts and demons and everything.
Diablo 2 is like a special circumstance because it's also an old game people actually care about. Like with all these remakes and stuff, it's like, like Knights of the Old Republic, people like it, but they don't talk about it with the same like asinine reverence that they do. Like nobody talks about any game with the rose-colored glasses that are worn with respect to Diablo 2 are the rosiest glasses of them all, essentially, of anything, of all time, I want to say. Like, as someone who played a lot of Diablo 3, the amount of times I've read online or elsewhere, like, they ruined it, Diablo 2 is so much better. Like, it's... There's a reason they didn't do anything creative with it. Like, it's a weird... It's not an accurate way of saying it, but that it's such a adherence to the second one. Where we, like John says, I would rather like the D3 control, like remake D2. Don't remaster it. But I don't see how people in their position could do something different with the kind of comments and culture around D2. Everyone's saying, this is just one of those cases where people are wrong. And I feel like companies just need to stop listening to people. Everyone's like, we should listen to people. And I'm like, Blizzard's a great example of they're people who comment about what they need to do are so wrong.
Yeah.
They're like, D2's the best, everything has to be like D2.
Yeah.
And it's like this is going to please actually a small amount of people.
Well, I think
most of the people who said, "Oh, I want D2 again," are not even going to buy this or play this anyways.
Right. Well, keep in mind too, like Diablo 3, some people like to have a story in their head that it was, there was somehow that was somehow a failure. It's like the opposite of failure. That game is still this, I think, second because Cyberpunk ruined it, but still the second best-selling PC game of all time, like ever.
Yeah,
3. Yeah. That's 3, not 2. Freaking 3. So just to pretend like 3 was a problem is ridiculous. Just watching this video makes me just want to play Diablo, but maybe I'll get my fill in 3. I played 3 to death, so I also played 2 to death.
And I mean, again, there are gonna be people. We literally see it in the chat room.
Yeah,
like. There are people that are like, well, this is what I want. I wanted them to just make it to where it's playable. And for those people, like, great. This should be a glowing review for you then. Me saying, hey, it's like Diablo 2, but prettier, like, you should be jazzed. It's not necessarily what I want, but I think there's going to be two schools to that anyway. There's going to be people that look at 3 and go, yeah, this is an improvement on just about every element of 2. Like the only thing I didn't think 3 excelled on over 2 was story.
I
honestly think 3 is better than 2 in almost every regard, except for story.
I have a thing to tell you guys offline about something I know about the story, but I can't say it or I'll get in trouble. But it's a good story. I can't believe I haven't shared this.
Well, you got to remember to tell us this.
I will remember this one 100%. In fact, I'm going to put a note.
Something we can talk about, though, is you did, when you interviewed Chris Metzen, he did talk about his aspirations for the story to make it more epic, broader, and to make the heroes more heroic. Like,
yeah, he kind of wanted to Warcraft it.
They did intentionally move away from the grimdark a bit to give more of a heroic vibe and epic fantasy vibe, which just people like Burning Crusade, like it's not a trope people don't like. For some reason, everyone just like cannot fathom the notion that Diablo could just be anything other than what they think it is. Like, it's not actually. It's just an aesthetic decision. It's not. It isn't as bad as it's been made out to be. There are zombies who you cut in half, whose upper torso crawl after you. This game's not grimdark. I'm like, that seems pretty grimdark. You just don't like the palette or something. Like, you know.
They saw a rainbow in the trailer, so therefore bad. You know, that like the criticisms of Diablo 3. You know, you can send me your tweets. I think are extremely misguided.
There's like blood everywhere in that game. Like, it's not nearly as bad as people make it out. It's just I'm still convinced, even though like Blizzard's not in their good books right now, they're just a pile of people who just like to bitch for the sake of bitching, and Blizzard's their like buddy. Like, Blizzard's their whipping boy.
Yeah, for sure. And I agree wholeheartedly with everything you guys are saying. And that's my whole point about the narrative people have in their head. They just have whatever they have in their head, and there's no changing it. And I'm not even that big of an apologist for 3 in the same way as like I agree the story is the weakest point. I think it's a really weak point.
It's not
of the
perfect,
game.
but the
second game had more substantial story stuff, which made the grimdark feel more grimdark. Story enhances that.
And I think what you just said 100% nails it for me. Like, because Bo's right. You literally fight a larder demon that is just bodily fluids leaking out onto the floor constantly until it explodes into a mass of blood and guts.
Yeah.
Like, characters die constantly. Like, almost everybody you meet, and they're like, "Hi, adventure, can you help me?" Like, they're gonna die a grisly death. You're probably not gonna actually help them all that much. There's literally a mission where you just try to save as many people as possible, and most of them die. And like, the game has its elements of it, and it is dark. It is gothic. Like, it does hit all those things. I think the only area it fails in is it does a little bit more of the uplifty high fantasy business. And I think as a result, I think a lot of people misinterpret that as it's not dark. Or the fact that they can see, because that's the other thing I am noticing playing Diablo 2 is it's like, oh yeah, I can't see half the game.
Yeah,
like,
there is a lot of stuff in the
boy,
shadows.
do I feel immersed because I can't see half the game.
Yeah. I gotta tell you, one of the most, you know, like if you have a favorite magic trick and you've seen other magicians do it or whatever, and you always just are delighted to see a certain magic trick. The worst feeling in the world is finding out how it was done later. And when you find out when the fog lifts, you're like, oh, that's how that trick went. It's a super big bummer. This is a Diablo-like thing for me. Diablo 1 and Diablo 2, and even early in Diablo 3's release, I was always so amazed that there was an unending, infinite number of weapons available to you. And they all had different names. They all looked different. They had a different hilt. They were longer. They were shorter. They had a blood coming off one of them, and the other one was glowy green. And in my head, I really thought that one of the things that this game did is figured out how to have unending generated numbers in the billions, maybe, of weapons. I was all wrong. It was like suddenly the itemization system hit me, and I went, no. What it is it's still maybe impressive. Maybe it's 100 weapons, but they're going to roll 5, 10, 15 different ways for me when I get them. And I'm going to have that same sword many, many times over, and that sword's just going to have slightly different numbers on it. Now, that can be kind of infinite. You know, those are RNG numbers and can be generated based on that. But the actual weapons themselves, the art for the weapon, for the longest time, I thought, oh, man, this is the game that will change the world because they figured out a way to make infinite possibilities. Like the levels
it's
are random.
It's the No Man's Sky of like loot drops.
Yeah, that's really what I saw it as. And also the fact that it was, you know, every level was randomized every time you went out and played it. Still an impressive thing, I think, in any video games. But, you know, procedurally generated dungeons made me feel even more that way. Like this game just goes on forever. So I can justify 900 hours in this game because it never ends. And I was so disappointed when I found out that wasn't true. I was really bummed. Still a little bummed, you know? Like I remember at Borderlands, remember when they used to say billions of guns or whatever?
Yeah.
And that whole thing was just same thing. It's like theirs is maybe a little bit more randomized, but there's not, all the art's done and it's finite. It's not like some computers. I mean, maybe today, maybe we do finally get to a place eventually where an AI is designing a bunch of weapons in real time and skinning them in real time, and they're being pumped into the game in that way. I mean, there's some really interesting future stuff coming, but that is not how this worked.
Yeah, I
And
can
was
see
bummed
that
out.
maybe sometime.
Oh yeah, chat's talking about the billions of guns things too. That's cool.
Yeah,
All right.
I mean, it's just there to delight you, but yeah, there's a finite amount of.
Yep.
Anyways, that's how all that stuff works.
That's true.
Yeah.
We also know a lot more about the games we play in this day and age than we did back then, when it was like looking things up. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Information's everywhere
Yeah.
now. A lot of that stuff's there. It wasn't
Yeah,
the
it
same
was
back then, too.
mystical at the time, and then you get older, and then there's wikis, and somebody puts up a single screenshot that contains every weapon model in Diablo 2, and you go, wait a minute, it all fits on one screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, WoW had spoiled that shit right before it even
Wait,
launched.
wait,
Yeah.
what?
That might have been what I saw, something like that. Like I saw
Yeah.
a list or a visual list and went, "Oh, please tell me that's really this is it." Like I couldn't believe it. It really soured
And
me.
then
on
it's
it,
like,
actually.
oh wait, that's it?
Which is stupid because it is the numbers that matter. But it just felt like there was a new sword and it was going to pop out of every hole I clicked on, and it was never the same. And that's a big illusion to have broken. But anyway, well done everybody at Blizzard for that back in the day. All right, Final Fantasy IV and 14. So there's 10 games between them. How's that going?
And I'm playing both of them. I kind of talked about 4 earlier. We've got Final Fantasy IV, definitely very story driven, and I'm enjoying it. It goes dark in a lot of ways. Speaking of grim dark, 14, I've been playing more of that. I got through the base level Heavensward on my second character now. So I'm getting there. My goal is to have this second character ready for the new expansion by the time it comes out. But the only thing I'll mention here, because I know Bo had an interest in it, and just because it's the thing that I've been most excited about this week in games, is I finally decided to give the job of Dancer a try.
Oh,
And
okay.
oh my gosh, it might be the most fun class I've played in a video game in a long time. I
gotta
don't
keep
even
the
know
beat, right?
why I like it so much.
Oh.
It's just, and granted, I've only gotten it, or it's only level 60, which is what it starts at. So it's not like I've put in a ton of time. But I got to where I could unlock it. I unlocked it, and it's super cool. It's super fun. I love the animations for it. I love the look of it. I love the sound of it. Being a ranged DPS is a lot of fun, and that class is really good. Also, Red Mage finally clicked for me, which is another one I've really been enjoying. So right now I've got, I think, 5 classes at level 60 that I'm going to just keep pushing forward as I move through the expansions, and going to keep going on that game. So
Sweet.
still enjoying that. It's what I do most of the free time.
Yeah, I love that you're doing this at all. That's Final Fantasy taking over your whole life thing. It's just crazy to me. I love it.
The thing that I'm enjoying the most, though, it's so weird. So here's a good connection between the two. So I had no idea that 14 was as entrenched in the history of Final Fantasy as it was, that it paid so many homages back to the older stuff. And so I got to a part in 4 where I ran into a bunch of these like evil dolls running around. And as soon as they started talking, I was like, I recognize this music, and I recognize the name of these dolls. And then I remembered, oh, it's a boss in Final Fantasy XIV. There's a bunch of these little dolls. They all combine into one giant horrific doll. And I was like, that must be what this is from. And sure enough, I started fighting these little dolls. They turned into a giant horrific doll in this old game. And so it's been really wild to see these, like, as I'm going through the games, I'm seeing bosses that have already been in the game. There's entire dungeons where it's like, oh, here's a reference to 3, here's a reference to 2. Like, you begin to get a better idea of how much love for the entire series overall 14 is once you start playing through that game.
Yeah.
And that's been the thing that's been really crazy cool to see as I go through these older games, is going, oh my gosh. Like, the first raid from A Realm Reborn is this giant crystal tower, and it's like a multi-part raid, and literally the bosses that are in there, the way it looks, the music, all of that is directly from the final dungeon in Final Fantasy III.
Huh.
And I had no idea. I just
Oh.
was like, wow, this is the thing they came up with, I guess. And then you start to see it and you're like, oh my gosh, this is really neat. The way it connects to the whole series. Not in a story way. Like you don't have to have played all those games, but in just a connection and an homage. And it's been really enjoyable.
That's nice. I'm happy to hear it. It's been fun to watch from afar. Quick, tiny Diablo update. A bunch of people in the chat were reminding everybody that, the auction house was a thing and it sucked, and it did suck. It was bad, really bad. And it wasn't really until about a year into that game's release that things got better, because they dumped that and announced the sequel or the expansion. Plus, they did the loot point or 2.0 stuff, which fixed all the itemization.
Oh yeah.
It was
Out the gate, Diablo 3, I did not love. I didn't
Yeah.
think the game was great, but the game that exists now is.
Yeah.
And you're gonna judge the game off of what it is now. I'm not gonna say, yeah, I would take base level error 32 or whatever it is, Diablo 3 over Diablo 2. No, that's stupid.
Yeah.
I think the game that exists now is one I would rather play than Diablo 2. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Not necessarily in its launch state.
Yeah, not the one where
yeah.
I couldn't log into it. Oh, one thing worth noting, speaking of bugs,
Yeah.
I don't know, but I made a character I tried to play earlier today on Diablo 2 Resurrected. This was after they took the game down for a brief update, so this would have been after the update. I made a character. I made a druid named Beans, and I saved the game and I exited the game because the baby woke up. I hadn't played for very long, and then I logged back in to continue the journey of Beans, and that character didn't exist.
Oh.
So I don't know if there's an error. I don't know what's going on with that. I ended up making a second incarnation of the character. I hadn't done anything, so it's not like I lost a ton of progress or anything.
Right.
But I did do save and exit, and that character was just completely gone. So I don't know if that's a bug or what.
Well, that's probably because it's server required this time around. So I don't think any of that stuff gets saved locally anyway. So you probably just their shutdown or whatever hadn't saved your entry.
Oh, is it
Yeah.
server required?
Oh yeah.
There is an offline
Well, that's a
mode.
big
Oh, there's a
difference.
mode for that. Okay.
Yeah, there is a toggle. You can make an offline character that's saved locally on your hard drive.
Oh, okay. I didn't know
just
they
like
did
the
that.
original then, right? They had offline and online.
Yeah. Well,
never mind.
And three was always and ever online. Like you can't play that without being online unless you're on a Switch. But yeah, I was curious about that. I don't know how much of that is to satisfy old fans who hate the idea of online all the time or whatever, but that's interesting. So I'll bet if you'd have done the local version, it would have kept it. You'd have been fine. The problem is now you can't participate in like trades with anybody on the legit servers, because the minute you go offline, that's when they don't trust you. They think you're hacking it or whatever.
Well, that's fine. I don't want to trade with anybody.
Yeah.
To me, Diablo, not always, because I certainly have some fond memories of staying up till like 4 a.m. playing with Hunts the Wind and Bo and stuff like that on Diablo 3. But generally speaking, Diablo for me is a solo adventure.
Same. Yeah. I hate that that's true, because I think there's a lot there for co-op even back in the day, but I am so much more of a solo player. If somebody was asking the other day, are you going to get New World? I absolutely am going to get New World. It's cheap. It's coming out like in a week, next week, and I want to see what's up. And they've had a whole other month to polish, and I liked the beta. I'm interested, but my one big question remains: is this a solo-friendly MMO? Because that is primarily how I'm going to play it. I will very rarely
I'm not
group.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
My
it seemed
time
fun.
in it has been solo, and I had a good time, but it looks like it's a lot of community building and let's all band together and do this. And I don't know if I'm going to be interested once I get to that stage. Of it.
I hope some of that stuff is isometric, and you don't necessarily have to all be in grouped and okay, ready, 1, 2, 3, go. And like that stuff's great, and the game needs to have it for whoever wants it, but it's not really where I'm at with MMOs right now. So we'll see. That's still $39 and no fee, no monthly fee. That's it's a no-brainer for us to cover it. You know what I mean? Like cheap. I don't know what that is in Canadian. It's like $180 Canadian. Just kidding.
It's like $59 Canadian.
It's not wrong.
Hey, I don't know these exchange rates and what's going on there. Oh, I heard you guys had we don't want to get into that. It's political, but you guys just had some kind of weird election and everyone's mad.
Well, that wasn't a weird election. It was an election.
Yeah.
They called because we have something here called a minority government, which
Yeah.
you guys don't have. Which is if you have to win a certain amount of seats. I guess they call them delegates in the states.
Yeah.
So if you don't, but you're still the majority seat holder, you get a minority government, which means you just have to bargain with the other parties to be able to do anything. And so it's not a great situation. So they called an election in a minority government, and the exact same result happened. The liberals got into a minority government. Nothing changed. It was the most hilarious thing ever. Like
So
call an election, and everything's exactly what it was. Like,
yeah.
I'm sure the political people will be like, "Oh, it's not exactly the same," blah blah blah. But pretty much,
Well, we're all about spending huge amounts of taxpayer money on crap like that. So
Nothing.
Yeah, on nothing. So
yeah,
don't
we
feel too
love to spend a lot of money for.
Yeah, if you guys want to be irritated, watch that 9/11 Turning Point documentary on Netflix. It's a very good series. I highly recommend it. It's just very studious and very, facts of the story and no sensation. Just like here's what happened. Here's how it happened. Here's what happened after. Here's the guy who made that happen, and now he's going to talk for 5 minutes. It's just a very academic kind of documentary. But in it, there was a stretch of time between 2009 and I don't remember 12, maybe 2012, where we just wasted colossal amounts of money on really bad ideas in a war that we shouldn't have been in. It's insane what we did. You have to watch it I can't even express it. It's called Turning Point. 9/11 and the War on Terror, I think, is the subtitle. It's a Netflix thing. It's an original. It's just a really high quality documentary. This is not some, make a quick buck on the 20th anniversary kind of thing. It's like, it feels like legit, like the kind of thing you'll hear at the end of the year will be up for Oscars or something. Cause I guess it's TV though, but anyway, it's very, very good. But there were moments in there where you're like, I'm sorry, we spent $900 billion on what was that we spent that on? Like, it's just insane things. Like, I don't want to give anything away, but just remember I said goat farm when you get there. All right. Goat farm.
Okay.
All right.
Goat farm.
All right. Let's move on to Bo. Bo finished. How do you finish Disco Elysium? How is that even a possibility?
Well, you get to the end of the game.
So hold on.
Like ending a book.
I have
The story ends at a certain
I have the
point.
Diablo problem where I think that the dialogue choices are infinite. Are you telling me there's a finite?
Oh no, there's a finite amount of choices, but it's just very robust, and the conversation trees are lengthy and quite complex.
Once again,
But you do have to solve the mystery. Again, the initial sort of thing that you go into, and it's what you're there to do is solve the mystery of the hanged man behind the whirling in rags.
Yeah.
But in my playthrough, I've learned, I don't know how much I want to say about the game because you just need to experience it, but it's possible for you, I think, not to discover everything there is to discover about the ending and thus get. I think I got a pretty good ending, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Oh, good. That's good. Right.
And one of the great things about the game too is that it does look at what you've done over the course of the game and maybe reflect back at you certain things in a very satisfying way, without giving it away. I mean, I'd rather discuss it with you guys having played it. Not that I want to pressure you into playing it or anything, but if you surrender yourself to the fiction, put yourself in the role of the detective and try and sort things out, there's a lot of fun and meaning to be taken out of it. And so I streamed it, like the entire thing streamed, and it's on my YouTube page.
Nice.
You can probably also check it out on my Twitch page. There's VODs there. All said and done, took me. I mean, I really milked it. Like, I really spent a lot of time pouring over the dialogue and thinking about it and talking about it. But I think I spent 60 to 70 hours in the campaign. Like, I spent a long time. You could probably get through it faster, but maybe you're not as good of an investigator trying to work your way through all the details. Also, there's a lot of side weirdness that really doesn't have to do with the main thing, but everything's connected, I guess, if you see it that way. I don't know. It's very interesting. And I know I can't, I don't want to spoil things, but like, I know that I definitely had a major mind jizz moment towards the end where it was just like, oh my god, like my tenacity paid off in a way, whereas you might be able to play that and not have had the things that I did happen to me, right? So
I just really like the phrase "mind jizz" moment.
Yeah, I had a mind jizz moment, but it almost like I can almost see people playing this game and then not experiencing certain revelations because they played it poorly or they made different decisions. Like I got an outcome that was very like, there was like, oh snap! Like I just was like, what? Like it was very like my mind was blown at the end. It was like it was both surprising and inevitable, which the confluence of the two towards the resolution of story is always very special.
Yeah.
So, but you could miss it. You could literally in the game mechanics miss that part of the story because you didn't figure it out, I guess. So, yeah, it's really good, man.
Yeah.
And it definitely ends on I don't know if the Coen brothers are the right thing. It's definitely like it's everything I expected, and like there was a climactic aspect to it, but an anticlimactic aspect to it that was perfect for the story. I don't know. I can't really talk about it. I just want you to play it and experience it without any sort of bias.
But you don't get to the end and they Shyamalan ding you, and suddenly Bruce Willis was alive the whole time or something weird like that, right? It's not.
There's no Shyamalan dinging in this.
All right.
Yeah, I would not put it in a Shyamalan camp.
Okay.
For sure.
Just the mind jizz camp for sure.
Yeah, more of like a almost Western in a weird way, I think.
Ooh.
Honestly.
Well, now you're talking.
you have Scott's
attention. My attention. Yeah, my most anticipated movie before the end of the year is Dune, but right after that is a movie called Old Henry, which is a Western about a man who's not too proud of his past. Oh, it looks great. Anyway,
well, it's definitely not like an actual Western, but it sort of has this very, I don't know, man. It's a if you like gas station simulator, this is a depression simulator.
Okay.
So, everybody's sad and the world's kind of shitty, and your mind's a crappy place. Like, but it's good. It's funny. It's satisfying. I enjoyed it. I just can't talk. I guess where people draw the comparison to this game is Planescape Torment. So.
Yeah, that game had
main characters have amnesia. They go weird places, and they have great stories. And so, I think maybe if that means anything to you, because I haven't played Planescape Torment, but a lot of people have.
Yeah,
if it means something to you, then like that's the vein of game it is.
I didn't beat it, but I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So
there's like a spiritual successor, like because I was watching this video about these CRPGs, and like I guess Numenaria. Tides of Torment was meant to be a spiritual successor, but it was a little bit panned, I guess.
Yeah,
like it wasn't.
I
think it literally tried to copy Planescape, where this game is a spiritual successor to Planescape in the sense that it's the same sort of experience, even if it's a different story.
Sure.
Yeah.
Someone in the chat was asking, "Isn't there an Old West movie or game coming soon?" And there is. It's called Weird West, and I'm very excited about this because who's the devs? It's Devolver Digital's publishing, and they've yet to put a game out that I didn't enjoy. So that's one thing. But let's see, immersive sim from co-creators of Dishonored and Prey. That's what it is. They're ex-Arcane people.
Oh, and, weird.
Yeah,
okay.
There's some, and it's also the Old West with supernatural shit, and I'm a huge fan of that crossover. Totally fun stuff. So we'll watch for that game, and it looks top down like Diablo-ish. Wonder if it actually is Diablo-ish. Oh, man, this might be what I'm playing next. All right. Anyway, hey, let's now move on to Shattered Tactician. Or, sorry, so you started Tactician.
What? No, this is Divinity Original Sin 2.
Oh, you started the Tactician mode.
Yeah, I had to translate all of it. I'm doing a Tactician Honor Mode Lone Wolf run.
Yeah.
Which means hardest difficulty, hardcore, so if I die... It's game over.
Yeah.
And Lone Wolf, so only playing with one character.
And how is that going? So can I do Lone Wolf without can I do the non-hardcore but with Lone Wolf on? Is that possible?
Yes, Lone Wolf is an option. You can do you can play as a single character at any level of difficulty and without honor mode on.
Kind of want to try that.
Because there is you say the reason why it's called Lone Wolf is there's a talent that gives you more action points, and you get double stats when you upgrade them because you're a single character, so they compensate you, but you're still at a big disadvantage being that you're only one character. And especially in a hardcore mode, that game basically the big strategy with the game is that you have status effects are mostly applied once one of your armor types is off, physical or magical.
Yeah.
So basically, if you're playing as a single character, as soon as they strip off one armor type, the enemy generally will stun lock you to death.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I have to play not getting my armor peeled off, which is part of the challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you start fights in the middle surrounded by things. So having played it before is definitely an advantage, because then I make my I play summoner for the strategic. Everything I'm picking is strategic reasons, not fantasy, because I make my summoner. I give birth to my incarnate. I give him a haircut with the spells, and then I just send him into the room and then hide in a barrel while he goes and just takes out a dude and then takes out another dude, and they just keep sending in more summons. But the fun part of this mode is just trying to theory craft. Now I've gotten to Act 2. I did die once on my first. This is my second attempt. It's real dispiriting.
Oh.
Oh,
Okay.
I was gonna ask. Yeah.
So you
died
had to
in the-
just start it all over.
Start right from the beginning. So it's one, you die. Now I think there's a thing I gotta get in Act 2 that'll auto res you. So I did actually die in this playthrough, but the second playthrough. But I took the talent comeback kid, which gives you an auto res and 20% health.
Yeah, that counts.
But
That's
you don't get your armor back. So it was very stressful, and I almost died. But thankfully, the AI didn't attack me because there was one more AI move before my next turn. So I just scraped by. Yeah, if you like puckering your anus during combat encounters, then you're like, "Oh shit, I'm gonna lose all this progress." Like,
It's my favorite. It's why I wake up in the morning.
fine.
yeah. That's the mode for you. But so far, I'm in Act 2, so we'll see.
That's
It's
exciting. I think that's cool.
Yeah,
I
that's
saw
cool.
you. I watched you stream a little bit of it, and I was trying to figure out why there was just one character running around. So
Yeah.
that's why, because you're challenging yourself.
Yeah, the character's name is Lady Gorath.
Yep.
It's a lady undead, and
With a bucket
lady...
on her head, at least
Yeah.
at the
Bucket on
time
her.
that I watched.
Yeah, Buckethead.
Yeah, you got to start with the bucket and the ship. But now I've got the captain's armor now. The Captain Sex Sabor or something, whatever his name is.
You're the captain now. You're saying.
Yeah, well, I just got to Act 2 on the Lady Vengeance, so yes, I am.
I am the captain now. Awesome. I want to play that again because you're talking about it, and that's all it takes with Divinity Original Sin 2.
It's just some
talking
music. Like, it's hard. Music is so good in that game. I don't know why.
about it. Yeah.
And I've started looking into Baldur's Gate 3 again a little bit. I can't wait for that game to fully come out. I really want to dive into it.
Yeah. I needed to. If they
there's been
can
some
get like,
updates.
is
It
that
looks
first
sick.
act done? Like done? Like I can play the whole.
Yeah, you can play the whole first act. It's playable right now. I wanted to stream it, and it didn't stream like those. I'm still working on my new computer kind of stream setup thing, so it's not. I can stream Divinity barely, but I definitely cannot stream Baldur's Gate 3. So I didn't really dig into it just yet.
Well,
But
I want to watch you stream some of the Divinity game. I would watch that.
I mean, you might be there when I die and cry. Like that's sort of the fun thing is just how like you're just like whatever things are. Oh no!
Yeah.
And because it's turn based, you just sit there looking at your situation, being like, "How do I get out of it? I can't get out of it. Oh my god!"
Yeah.
Not like Diablo, where it just happens and you're like, "Oh no, I'm dead." You have to
Yep.
slowly, methodically watch your world come to an end.
Yeah.
Well, good luck. I wanna follow up on it and see how you're doing in there. All right. Well, that's those are the games we played this week. I did play a bunch of Potion Craft as well, but I'm gonna play more before I talk about it. I think it's pretty neat.
That
That
sounds-
was
that's-
almost my review for this week. Again, I feel like we look at the same games each week.
I think we do.
Week. That
Yeah.
game looked cool.
Mhm.
I liked the look of it. I don't know if it's any good, but I thought it had a neat look to it.
It is good. I mean, it's got one weird aspect to it, which is making potions is like following a map instead of following ingredients. So there's still ingredients, but you're using them based on where it gets you on the alchemy map. And getting further out on the alchemy map means new and better recipes, combo recipes, other shit that you can keep in your recipe book and then make on the fly. it's more, it's that part is really different. It's taken a little bit to get my head around it. But once I did, and I realized, oh, so it's not just taking 2 of the fire weeds and a couple of these and mixing them up and going. It's using the amounts I want to kind of get on the map where I want to go, and then make a weird hybrid drink where a guy's like, I want to have fast growth, but I want it to be half speed, or I want it to also be cold. Well, then I got to figure out a way to combine a freezing potion and a growth potion, and then you got to do it on this map. It's tricky and very hard to describe. I don't even know how to describe it properly. But the look of that thing and the mechanics of selling stuff and then using your little weed garden to get some mushrooms out of it or whatever, all that stuff is great. Everything looks like parchment, like Middle Ages parchment. And even the tools that you move around, they look like they're all hand illustrated. Well, they are hand illustrated, but it's a very cool little game. I'll have more to say next week probably, but we shall see. Kind of a chorecore game in a way, you know, a lot of fantasy.
Definitely a niche interest thing, right?
Oh yeah.
You know,
yeah.
like definitely like, do you like puzzles and making potions?
Yeah. And chat room saying, did WildStar have crafting with like a map? Was it sort of like that? Because I don't remember that.
I don't remember. I played WildStar, but I didn't do the crafting.
I didn't either. Now that I think about it, I don't think I did any. I did some gathering. That was it. All right. Let's get to an email. We got one. And it starts with this.
That's a good question.
Oh, man, I think I sneezed something on my screen earlier. Hold on a second.
Ew.
Got a nice big loogie right on that monitor, right on someone's forehead.
Now I need a new monitor. Aw.
I really need to clean this. All right, let's do this email. This is talktothecore@gmail.com is the email address. Richard wrote in, says, hey, guys, given how much content there is out there demanding our time, movies, books, shows, and games, how do you decide on what you're going to play on that day or on a day-to-day basis? Do you try to pick one and stick to it, or do you graze on a bunch of different games? Do you use techniques to keep yourselves on track? Appreciate the show. Thanks, Richard. I mean, when you said graze, you described to me, I do like buffet-style video games. I like to just sample and poke here and poke there. Once in a while, one will grab me real hard, and I'll play Gas Station Simulator for 10 hours or something I did already. That will happen. But a lot of times I just like kind of dip in, dip out. And so if they really grab me, I may stay longer, but usually I'm still sort of interested in checking other stuff out. And that's just here with the console or with my PC at night. You know, if I don't feel like reading a comic or, you know, can't sleep or something, I'll fire up my phone or a Switch and play something mobile. And that may represent me spending at least some time in like 5 games that day. Which sounds crazy, but it happens a lot. Today it happened. So, yeah, I'm a grazer. John, how do you do it? Because I feel like you start and then you finish.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, finances don't allow for a lot of games to get purchased, which is part of why I like Game Pass. But honestly, I find a game I really like and I try to just, lock in and get what I want to get out of that game. For the Final Fantasy games that I've been beating, streaming it and committing to it being like, no, I'm going to play this game on stream from beginning to end has really kept me on task. And I've set aside, on days where I stream, it's going to be about 2 hours a day. And that's what I do. I play Final Fantasy for 2 hours a day. These are the hours. And you kind of breeze through games going that route.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy what a dedicated 2 hours where you just say, I'm just going to do this. Like 2 hours doesn't sound like a lot of time, but it adds up very quickly over sessions. And all of a sudden you've just finished a game and you're like, oh my gosh, it's done.
Yeah.
But the truth is, here's the real problem. If it wasn't for doing the Final Fantasy games on stream, and if it wasn't for this show and feeling like I should come to the table with something other than Final Fantasy every week, I would be playing Final Fantasy XIV every second of my free time, and I wouldn't play anything else, and it wouldn't bother me one bit.
Yeah.
That's just where my head is at right now with that game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm enjoying it. Nothing else is interesting to me. Like, even games that I know are good, that I know I will go back to and I will play and I will enjoy. Like, I started Deathloop and I was like, man, this game's really good. I'm really interested in this game. Didn't touch it. Every bit of free time went to Final Fantasy XIV, and the Diablo 2 Resurrected was a little bit of time before the show where I was like, oh shit, I haven't played anything this week. I'm going to play this because I have it and it's new and I haven't talked about it. And I don't think anybody else on the show has it and is going to talk about it.
Yeah.
But my head's just 100% in 14. I just play what I like, tends to be the case. And that's where my head's at right now.
Yeah. I think that's you're describing me some years ago. Things have changed for me. I'm way interested in just like seeing. I want to see as much of it as I can, and that doesn't mean I'm going to all these stores and just buying everything I see. I don't do that. In fact, I rarely do. It's usually like, oh, here's a code, or Game Pass had 4 new games today, or whatever. And as a result, I've gotten, especially in the last couple of years, just really in this mode of that looks cool. I'd really like to try that, or that seems neat. Let's see if that's as good as they said it was, or whatever. And also going back to old stuff. You know, I'll fire up Invisible Ink 2-3 times a month just because that game's great, and I go back to that game and as if it just came out, you know. So I want to hear how Bo does it. Bo, you're a get in, master it, and then come out and breathe for a minute kind of dude.
I've like had a kind of, I don't want to say a rough go. I don't want anyone feeling sorry for me, but life was a lot simpler when I was just into Heroes. Like I really didn't play that many other games. Like I would play World of Warcraft and I would play stints in Diablo, but I didn't really branch out very much. I didn't really feel a giant need to. Like, you know, every now and then I would play other games, enjoy Overwatch. I mean, I was very much in just the Blizzard side of things, but I was very satisfied with a very small amount of games, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And I still find that that's true. Like, I end up trying games and being pretty unhappy with them because they're just, I don't know. They're not. I want to be respectful, and these are efforts people are putting to make creative endeavors for people to enjoy, and I know a lot of people work hard on them, but at the same time, I don't really want to spend a lot of time on junk.
Yeah.
You know, like I enjoy playing games. I enjoy the intellectual challenge of that games can propose, and when they don't do that, I'm like, I can say, yeah, GTA is great, but it's not really interesting to me.
Yeah,
I like mechanics, so. Yeah, it's just the problem is if you're someone who just plays a game or plays certain games really hard, then you could be missing something that's really great. That's the problem with sort of approaching things.
You'd also just get into these camps of like, you know, I know some kids in my family, some nephews and nieces who all they want to do is play Fortnite and that's it. Fortnite is the platform. Some other kids, we've talked about this before, but like Roblox is everything to them and nothing else matters. And you know, try to. This is how Nick was with Minecraft when he was younger. It was like that's all he wanted to do, and that was nothing else for him. And I try to, you know, say, well, look at this broader thing and all these other kinds of games that you could play. And I think that just comes with age, new genres, new whatever. Like you'll pick other things up as you go. But I don't know. In some ways, it annoys me that I want to see them all instead of just focusing, right? But I don't know. Sometimes the games don't grab me either. And nice thing about Game Pass or return policies on Steam or whatever is that we have options now where if the game doesn't really get you, then you don't have to spend any time. You can get out and go do something else.
I mean, I've returned 2 games this year. I've returned Mass Effect and I've returned Pathfinder.
Wait, Wrath of the Righteous.
Wrath of the Righteous or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. It's tough. I just know if I'm gonna stick to something, I'm probably gonna put a lot of hours into it. So I get really picky early on if I get any sense that, and I'm not gonna bother.
Right.
Even if it's good.
To the emailer's point, like there's a lot demanding our attention, and right now, you know, my game time is pretty much limited to when the baby's asleep. So it's, you know, 30 minutes here for a nap, maybe an hour for a nap, or I'm staying up late and sacrificing my sleep at night to try and get a more significant chunk of game time in, outside of time where I can justify, hey, I'm going to stream because this does bring a little bit of money into the house. So in general, I don't have a lot of free time. And as a result, you know, you have to go where you're having fun. Like if you are only inching out, you know, a couple hours to play games, like I'm not going to sit there and devote those hours to honestly, even though I said I'm interested in it, I'm not going to play Skatebird for the precious hours that I have. Like, I know for anybody that's hoping, oh, is John going to come back next week and review Skatebird? No, I'm not. I'm not going to give that game the time. Like, I'll talk about it because I think it's interesting. I think it would be fun if people played it. But, like, when I don't have enough time to play as much as I would like, that time is going to go to the things I really want to play. And a lot of games, unfortunately, aren't going to fall into that window.
Yeah, I totally get that. I mean, my passion for it is mostly driven by my desire to talk about it. Like, I love the industry. I love following it. I love looking deep and then in the micro and the macro and back and forth and what's Nintendo doing and why did Sony do that and how come Microsoft thinks this? Like, that stuff's just, and I could just have endless conversations about it. And then even the nitty gritty of the games and the way genres work and the way they iterate on those genres and, you know, just that kind of stuff right down in the weeds. And then back out to like, well, is Blizzard even capable of being like their old selves, or at least what we perceived as being Blizzard, or, you know, these big, broader questions. I love that stuff. And so for me, what I play is often reflective of me just getting excited about all of it. Like, I just love all of it. And I just want to keep talking about it and doing it and seeing it and looking at it. And the show makes me stoked about that, you know?
You know what I think is actually kind of hilarious? I think we're in September 2021. I think the only game I've played released in 2021 is Pokemon Unite.
Oh, wow. Is that true?
I look at everything I've played this past year: Cyberpunk, Doom Eternal, Final Fantasy VII. I don't think I'm trying to think of any 2021 releases. I played Pathfinder for 2 hours, maybe, and then I returned it.
Hades came out in 2019 or 20, so
yeah. So the big game, like if I even just look at recently played on like my Steam list, it's like Divinity 2. I've been playing Hades, Deep Rock Galactic, Banished. You know, I'm playing like pretty much except Pokemon Unite. I'm playing, you know, even Rabbids didn't probably come out in 2021. Mario versus Rabbids.
Yeah.
I don't think I've played much of Yakuza Like a Dragon. I guess it counts. Came out this year, maybe 2. Like,
actually,
I'm still like good. Like, there's releases from 2019, 2020 that I'm still like, oh, I gotta do this or do that. I want to do that. Like, it's
sure.
It's very hard. I guess maybe if you're a younger person, I don't know. It's very hard, I find, to be like, the new stuff all seems good. Metroid Dread is definitely exciting me a lot, but it goes to a lot of games I haven't played from the past 5 years that I could, you know, be excited about.
Well, you'll get to this year. Just give it another.
Yeah, you'll be there in a year or two.
Exactly.
This gets to the crux of his email, I think, which is, and I didn't put it in here, but his subject was an embarrassment of riches. That old phrase about when there's just so many options. And there's a little choice paralysis about that. You don't have we don't have an eighth day a week we can just blow on gaming. I wish we did. But as a result, you do have to sometimes be picky about it. And me being crazy is me being picky. It's a form of being picky. I'd love to play all these games to their fruition. I can't do that. But so the best I can do is talk a chunk about this one, 10 hours in that one, a couple hours in that one. Like, you know, that's the world we are in if we want to be a voice in this space. So I hate that term, this space. Sorry, everybody. I apologize.
Yeah, the space of gaming.
Freaking hate it.
Yeah, I think those are the two. I mean, we could probably go back and look at it, but those are the two games from 2021 that I can think of playing in 2021. Pokemon Unite and
I'm trying to see.
Yakuza Like a Dragon.
At the end of the day, though, you just gotta ask yourself: are you having fun? Because it doesn't matter what year it came out. You know, if you're loading up old NES games and that's what you're doing with all your free time, and I in a way, that's sort of what I've been doing because I've been playing old Final Fantasies. Yes, they came out this year, but I've been playing old games.
Yeah.
You know, as long as you're having fun, you know, who cares? You know, you just got to find a way to prioritize and, you know, everybody take care of yourself.
I'm going to read you something. You tell me if you think this means I have a problem. Okay.
Okay.
This is just, let's see. I'm trying to do it by month here. Okay. So just in the month of September that we're in now. Okay.
Yeah.
Here's my list of games I played. Good Pizza, Great Pizza.
Wait, are those 2 games or 1?
That's 1 game.
Okay. I didn't know if it was the case that someone came out with a game and then someone was like, I'll make a better one.
Yeah, no, it sounds like it. It was a free code, so, you know, there's that. Potioncraft, Auxilian Legend of Artifacts, Prologue. I'm also on a beta development of a game I can't say the name of yet, but that's the next one. Then we got Gas Station Simulator, Papers, Please. Don't ask. It's a long story. Hardspace Shipbreaker, of course. Nebuchadnezzar, Spiritfarer, Lemon Cake, Star Control Origins, Aboria, Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous, Lawnmower Simulator, For the Warp, Arizona Derby, Golf Club Wasteland, Banners of Ruin, Quake Champions, Car Mechanic Simulator 2021, Quake, No Man's Sky, Mech Mechanic Simulator, and Song of Iron. That's just Steam.
You don't have a problem. I think that's fine.
Well, it is, but you should see August. It's even worse. I'm not even
honestly,
going to read
it. That's what my library should look like, because I have a ridiculous amount of games, and if I sorted by time played and I went to the bottom, I'd probably scroll through half the list before I got to any time played, because I bought all these games that I have put 0 time in, and like that's a problem. That's money just flushed down the toilet. We all like to make fun of my stupid lifetime subscription to Star Trek Online, but I could have probably bought 5 Star Trek Online lifetime subscriptions for the amount of money I've spent on games that I've never played.
Yeah.
So, I think that's a problem. You at least are playing these things, and I think that's fine. And that's exactly the reason why I was like, Scott, don't worry about Final Fantasy XIV. It's probably not for you.
Yeah.
Like you like to dabble in a bunch of different
like
experiences, and there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. Like you want to go to the arcade and you want to try all the machines, and you want to play at every station and check it out and say, what's this one bringing? And I want to play at home in my underwear in the middle of the floor, one game, and just go, and just that's the game that I have for now until I can convince mom and dad to buy me a new one.
I can't believe I think you just summed
and I
want
to be the guy you can't kick off the machine.
Right.
So good.
But I think you maybe hit on it. This is how I was raised. My dad, when I was younger, between the ages of 8 and all through high school, he ran arcades. We had a house full of arcade machines. The basement was stacked full of Donkey Kong, Missile Command, Asteroids, all of it. And that's literally kind of my genesis of gaming. Unlike some people whose genesis was the Genesis, I suppose. I don't know. But anyway, the point is, like, that is how I gamed. So I went from Joust to 1942, back over to Mortal Kombat, blah, 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 blah. That kind of thing is probably just stuck with me, that pattern. I treat these all as if, well, you want my quarters? Cool. How many quarters are you going to get? You're only going to get 3 because you weren't that good. But this game over here, the Marble Madness style, is going to eat 1,000 quarters because I'm hooked on that game. I do kind of play my games like that. But I also have these patterns. I just noticed on a day, or let's see, August 22nd through 26th, here are the games. Galactic Civilizations 3, Civilization 6, Endless Space 2, Battle Sector, Age of Wonders 3, Planetfall, Age of Wonders. Like, I went down a 4K nightmare that week. And then it changes again. It's like, oh, there's Neon Chrome and Replicator and these top-down twin stick shooters. So I do have patterns with like genre, but I don't know. I could just play any of these right now. There's Power Wash Simulator. I haven't played it since August. I should probably play that. Get to Power Wash shit, you guys. It's great.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds like, honestly, I saw Power Wash Simulator. I think that looks good.
It is. It is good. It's very good for this dumb thing that it is. It's very, very good. Ooh, Deep Rock Galactic's got a sneaky. Oh, look at this graphic. What is this? You guys, they're teasing something. Holy shit!
11:04:21. They're saying.
Yeah. What do you think that is?
It's a new. It looks like some sort of pyramid hanging off the ceiling with a light on it.
What do you think that is? Here,
Upside down Las Vegas.
Look at that right there on the screen. Here, John, I'll put it in our Discord. But look at that. What is that? We don't know what that is.
They just added modding support on the 14th, by the way.
Ooh.
This is intriguing.
So this game has mods now.
Yeah, and you can do, well, not just mods, but the whole workshop thing. They're going to let you do skin stuff and gun skins and all that. Pretty cool. That game's great.
Galactic, it's a great game.
Yeah,
a lot of fun.
That also did not come out in 2021, or did it? Hold on.
No. Oh, maybe
No,
it did because of the early access bullshit.
I can't remember.
Oh, right. There's a good That's a good point. I
Yeah.
was gonna say we were playing that last year for sure.
Said initial release was 2018.
Oh, okay. Well, never mind then.
But that might be initial release for
I
alpha
think
or
they
beta,
just
whatever.
hit their 1 year for 1.0 release. So I think you're right. It still would have been 2020. So yeah, you're just not.
I
playing
definitely
games.
played post launch, and
fully released May
last time
13th,
I
2020.
played was 2020. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, it says May 13th, 2020 on Wikipedia.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, look
No,
at
I
those
barely
games.
played any 2021 games. I mean, there have been some big releases. Just I didn't go nuts for Resident Evil, and like there's
Yeah.
just been Metroid Dread's been the biggest thing in a while that I've been like, oh.
I'm very excited for you to play that game because you clearly have some excitement for that. I think that's great.
I play a lot of Metroid. I like the sci-fi isolationist style game, and
Yeah.
Metroid's there with them.
Big fan. That's how I play Diablo. I'm isolated. I'm the only hero. No one can do it but me. All right. On that note,
Space Diablo would be great. There
would
was
be.
one, I think.
I would
called
play Space Diablo.
There is a Space Diablo somewhere. There was one. It's really old. I think it's Space Siege. I think it's Dungeon Siege, but it's
Oh
space.
yeah, they made us. That's right. Because Dungeon Siege 3 was a nightmare though, and I think the space one suffered from some of the same problems. I'll tell you what I would do if it were me. I'd do another 40K game, but just really Diablo it up, like action it up. Because the one that they did, the Martyr one's pretty good, but it's kind of slow and methodic. I wanna just lay waste to levels in a Diablo style 40K game. Anyway, hey, if you like that idea or have your own ideas of things we'd all like to do, send them in to talktothecore@gmail.com. That's our email address. That's what we got from Richard. It can be from you next time. talktothecore@gmail.com. Big thanks to everybody who supports us on Patreon. Without you, the show doesn't exist. And lately it's been growing, the show and the Patreon. I really appreciate it. If you haven't yet hopped over to pledge your way to maximum coolness, you can do it now. Patreon.com/core show. I think that's it. Before we go, John, final words.
Well, nothing will make you cooler than pledging your money away to make you cool. So
Oh, man.
just remember, the more money you throw at the problem, the cooler you are.
You're blowing my mind here. This is intense. Bo, how do you even follow that? What do you got? Final thoughts?
I got nothing. That's great.
It's pretty good,
best.
right? Yeah.
I was like, yeah, throw money at.
Yeah,
I'll
throw
throw
money
good
at
money after bad. Does that help?
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. All right. So there you have it. That'll do it for until next time. So we hope you enjoyed yourselves. We sure did. Take care of yourselves. Play a bunch of games, and we'll see you on the next core. Bye, everybody.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Yes. Get more at frogpants.com.
I never get tired of hearing that.